Hello, my friends. Hope everyone has been having a terrific Thursday so far. Tonight, we have the continuation of Week 5 here in the 14th season of Style, as Rank 20 Mythic Academy will be facing off against the Sand Ninjas at Rank 23. On Tuesday, Mythic Academy went up against NWE Delta, which is a team very close to tonight's combatants in the rankings. Unfortunately for the Academy, they were defeated with a 2-1 match score. Tonight's bout will be their second time taking the Rift this season. And as they are such a storied organization here in the Style Esports League, I do expect them to be hungry to prove themselves and try to bounce back from their loss earlier this week. Taking a look at the match history for our sweet Sand Ninjas, it is a very sad story, unfortunately. They have played 3 matches so far in Season 14, and they are yet to secure a single Nexus with a 0-6 game score so far. Not for lack of trying. Different players on the team have had good games in different weeks. It just hasn't quite all come together yet. They've tried early game, they've tried late game, team fighting, split push, meta, non-meta. Nothing is working. Very curious to see what they bring out tonight. Whatever it is, it will have to be better than what we've seen thus far. Mythic Academy are the lowest ranked opponent out of everyone the Ninjas have lost to up until this point. So this could be the opportunity they've been waiting for to finally pick up a win. Bringing you the action from the auto host location, my name is Chris Crewman, and I have the terribly talented Tiger58 alongside for the call. How are we doing tonight, sir?
Good. I'm excited about this one. Two teams looking to bounce back after a little bit of tumultuous time in the you got to lose sometimes. You can't have everyone winning every game, unfortunately. But that means that we have to have someone winning tonight. Can't have both of these teams stay down. Hopefully, they'll
Yeah,
both
yeah.
be on their top of their game, and we'll see if these teams are going to be able to show us their very best tonight.
It should be an exciting match. You know, the teams, as you know, as we mentioned already, they've not been having the highest of highs thus far this season, but they should be fairly closely matched in terms of the skill between these two squads. So, you know, anybody could take this, absolutely, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they decide to pull out. That is a Ziggs on B1 Tiger. That is a B1
Ziggs.
Ziggs.
An interesting selection, a little bit different than what I've been seeing in the competitive meta, but making sure to get the Ziggs early on means that it's going to be a lot of early tower priority here for Sand Ninjas. We'll see if they can use that to potentially affect the sides of the map. Could be flexible between mid and bot lane, but I guess that I would expect it to be in the mid lane going in blind.
Well, we did see the Zig support. I believe it was last night actually in the LCK. Maybe give me a second to do a quick little bit of digging on that. But it is a pick that actually has very recently popped up into the competitive consciousness. So it is obviously we're unsure at this point where the Ziggs is going to be going in this particular draft. But the response from Mythic Academy will be the Seraphine and the Xayah, presumably the bot lane, locked away on red side.
A little bit of flexibility both sides here. The Seraphine could be in the mid lane, but I agree with you. Having Xayah plus an Enchanter is usually pretty good. It's going to be a very difficult bot lane to do anything to, so they can rely upon that to be a safe, weak side option on the map. If they can lock in a strong top laner, strong mid laner potentially, then they can devote more resources towards that top side of the map, and I expect to see Sand Ninjas leaning into the fact that they should be able to have some priority in the bot, especially if this Heimerdinger is in support.
Yeah, absolutely. Could be a lot of lane priority on that side of the rift. And Xayah, you know, a champion that isn't especially strong in the early game really whatsoever. You know, really needs to kind of get an item or two before she really starts to spike. And then it's going to be the Jarvan in the jungle for Obi-Wan. So there is, you know, potentially an early game bridge to get Mythic Academy towards those team fights where the Seraphine and the Xayah can really be much, much more effective.
Definitely a strong early game pick, but also leans heavily into the team fight tree They've got a Seraphine, a Zaya, and a Jarvan now. All three of those are really good in 5v5 situations where they can fight front to back. If they can force Sand Ninjas to come into them, if they can get an early gold lead and start threatening around Baron, then they're going to have a lot of success no matter what the fourth and fifth picks are.
Absolutely. Just for everybody watching back there at home, the blue side ban in the first round was Sejuani, and the red side ban here in the second round that is bugged out a little bit there is Yone. So those are a couple of champions that you can't see on the stream, but they have been removed from the available pool. It's going to be the Singed as well, banned away by Mythic, and then the Silas, another solo lane option, taken off the board by the Ninjas of Sand.
Some of the stronger solo lane choices being taken away. I'm assuming that the Singed is a targeted ban towards Wang Badang. We'll see if there's going to be any interesting things going on in the mid lane. It looks like with the Ziggs having already been locked in, with the Victor being locked in here, that it's just going to be a little bit of a handshake going on in the mid lane. If there could be some roams coming out from the Ziggs, if assuming that it is Ziggs in the mid lane,
It's time to
then I
find
think
out.
it's going to be a good situation. Try to take advantage of priority in the bot lane. You're up against a Zaya and a Seraphine. Then that means if you can get Heimerdinger Ashe or something like that, then they're going to be
Yeah.
able to push forward, try to take Drakes, try to take that first tower in the bot lane. And if they can do that, they'll be off on the right foot.
Uh, okay. So we have another little pro draft glitcherino there. That is not, in fact, an Evelyn. It is actually a Tristana. So it will indeed be the Ziggs in the mid lane. So you were correct in calling that one, Tiger. And Ziggs, of course, one of the champions that can actually take the teleport summoner spell very, very comfortably. So if he does want to go for any of those roams early on that you were calling for to try and impact perhaps that bottom lane, he can actually get back into mid very, very quickly and not really lose very much CS. So that is a possibility. You know, Victor is another one of those kind of scaling options that while he will have some pretty good wave clear, you know, moving into the mid game, it's really not quite there in the early levels. He kind of needs to get the upgrade on the E before he can really push those waves in very quickly. But he does have a Zac in the jungle. The R5 lock-in from Mythic Academy, the counter pick is Zac top for Roger Maniac, actually. It is, of course, the Jarvan in the jungle. So very, very interesting. I think Zac solo lane also made an appearance not too long ago. I think it was actually Caps that pulled it out in the mid lane over the LEC this season. But it's going to be the top lane, I presume, this time around, unless it's like Victor top or something very strange like that.
It's going to be strange no matter what it is. I'm not sure what the interactions are, but I am assuming that it will be the Zac against the Camille. Going to be a lot of skirmishing going on around that top lane area. I think that the junglers kind of want to fight each other a little bit as well. So if we could see some invades coming out, whoever gets priority around that top side is going to be in a good position. Particularly if Sand Ninjas get priority in the top lane, then that's going to mean they'll have priority in both top and bottom lane. And mid lane should be pushable as well. I mean, having a Ziggs, you can get through the wave almost instantaneously as soon as you have the Lost Chapter. So they can get 3 pushing lanes early on in this game, then they're going to have a lot of control over the map, and hopefully that would help them get to an early lead.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If things do end up working out that way, which I think is extremely likely, you know, as you were just illustrating, it could be incredibly beneficial for the ninjas. The only thing that they really have to worry about, I think, Tiger, is this Jarvan from the jungle, because he is, of course, a notoriously powerful ganker in the early levels, and while his lanes don't have the greatest setup or even the greatest follow-up for that matter, I still think that is something that we have to watch out for as a possible avenue for Mythic Academy to kind of turn these drafts on their head.
Absolutely, and that's where the top lane contest comes in. I'm not sure how the Camille Zac matchup goes. It's possible that Zac is already winning it, but particularly when you have such a gank heavy jungler as Jarvan, then there's going to be a lot of opportunities to set up around that top lane. I'd like to see Panda Lover take Flash to respond to that because I do think that that's going to be the biggest
Mm.
point of focus. And now, based on the lock-ins, we're seeing an idea which could potentially come around, which is the possibility that the Tristana is mid lane into the Victor, and it's Ziggs bot
Mm.
lane.
Yeah, yeah, no, this is absolutely something that they could opt into on the side of the Sand Ninjas. I am curious as to why this would be the play, and maybe it's just comfort on champions, or do you feel like Tiger the Tristana is actually a better matchup into the Victor?
Tristana maybe has a little bit better pressure in like levels 1 through 6 against Victor, but it does bring about the concerning factor that right now the top 3 members of Sand Ninjas are all physical damage dealers. You got Tristana, Viego, Camille. All of those, I mean, Camille's going to deal a lot of true damage too, but you can itemize against that, particularly as a Zac or Jarvan player.
Mhm,
Getting a little
mhm.
bit of armor early on is going to go a long way here if it is in fact a Tristana mid lane. So that's something that they can keep in mind. Maybe give themselves a little bit more of an edge on skirmishes early in the game.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I mean, it'll be a little while until those tank stats really start to come through. Obviously, it's not going to be really all that meaningful just in the first few levels. But definitely, Zac and Jarvan could end up getting extraordinarily tanky. The Ziggs and the Heimerdinger will eventually bring plenty of that magic damage from the bot side of the map to balance out the damage profile over here on the side of the Sand Ninjas. But it is certainly possible that maybe a Rift Herald fight or something like this could be swayed by those additional resistances. Definitely something we'll have to watch out for. But Tiger, now that we do see the drafts completed and we actually know where all of these champions are going to be laning as well, do you have a preference between these two drafts? We've discussed a little bit, very strong pushing power on the side of Sand Ninjas, but definitely some playmaking and some really strong scaling available over on the side of Mythic Academy. What do you think?
I always like to give my percentage winning for each side. I like the diversity between the two drafts. I think that
Mm,
the early game power here for Sand Ninjas gives them a slight edge for me. I think that they will get ahead in the early game as a factor of their composition, but there's a lot of opportunities to come from behind. The pick is very good in addition to the team fights here for Mythic Academy. So I'm only putting it in about a 60% chance that we're going to see Sand Ninjas coming out on top.
yeah. All right. So it's very exciting. The Ziggs first pick, really, really high priority on the explosive Yordle. And they picked some other explosive Yordles actually to complement him. So it's definitely some pretty strong scaling on the side of the Sand Ninjas as well. We'll see if their Snowball League composition can take advantage of if we have some fresh powder on the ground, perhaps. Or maybe will Mythic Academy be able to continue the losing streak for the Sand Ninjas? We'll find out in just a short while. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rift for our first game of the night. Sand Ninjas on the blue side, Mythic Academy on the red side, and Urklo already making his way into the mid lane, trying to get a little bit of harassment down onto the Victor.
Going to the stonks zone, plus 60 gold for Perklow. Let's go. Gonna be handing 5 back with the turret that's gonna just be sitting there. Free food for Jack, but already getting a little bit of an early advantage, and that's gonna yield an extra potion going into lane.
Absolutely massive for Jack on the Victor. This was something that he actually played, I believe, at Mythic Academy in their previous series in games 1 and 3. They actually were victorious in game 1 with Jack on the Victor, but of course did lose the subsequent 2. We'll see how he performs on it this time around, only a couple of days later.
As far
Be a
as the
blue
rune,
start. Go ahead, Tiger.
yeah, I was gonna say, as far as the runes and summoner spells go, we can see that it is that teleport for the Zig spot. I'm wondering if we're going to see any rotation between the lanes earlier than we might have before to get the Tristana in with the Heimerdinger. Already gonna see a big push coming out from Perklow, but I think other than that, notably it's Ignite for this top lane Zac. Roger Maniac gonna try to do a lot of work there, as we already got Ignite being burned in the trade.
Yeah, I do love to see that aggressive play coming out from Hyberdingers. I mean, that's the whole reason to, that's a rocket jump forward. Wang is going to take a tower shot for that one. Oh, that's Obi-Wan with a level 2 straight into bot lane. Gets the flash out of the donger. That's both summoners now for Perklow, but Jarvan eating a lot of damage on the way out as well. And Viego taking this opportunity to go for a little bit of an invade. He sees the enemy jungler on the bottom side, sees he's only taken 2 camps, knows that red buff is up and available, and is going to make his way right over towards it.
I like the idea there of trying to set up a gank in the bot lane, but there's just not enough setup. Both of them were level 1. Now we got a pretty deep trade going. There's going to be deep trades all the time, but now Dave G on the top lane gank.
Oh, he's got the level 3. That's a flash away for Roger Maniac, but I don't know if he's going to matter. Roger goes into the passive. There's no way out. The Ignite used by the Zac as well. It will be first blood for Dave G on the Viego.
A nice attempt there to land the Ignite, but good patience from Dave G, just waiting out the flash and then finding the stun anyways. Gonna be looking at all of the laners, all 3 lanes are playing right on the edge of a knife right now, and I'm enjoying this a lot. This is, as far as early laning phase go, this is on the seat of my pants right now.
Both junglers making 1 gank attempt thus far. Only one of them was successful. It's Dav G with the first kill on the board. Obi-Wan still looking to make an impact here in the early game. He just recently discovered that his red buff was thieved away by the Viego. He is 2 camps down right now, I believe, on the Jarvan, as well as, of course, that gold from the first kill. Dav G wasting a lot of time in the line brush here, kind of waiting for an opportunity, or perhaps expecting a gank from the Jarvan to come through, but it will not occur. Viego will eventually go back to base. Perklow making his way into the mid lane just to help out his Yordle compatriot with the push.
Oh, I think that Perklow's having a really good game so far, utilizing the roaming potential with the Heimerdinger. You're always going to have that push. Panda Lovers going. I thought that with the flank, that was going to be enough to set up potential lethal. There's no respawning for Roger Maniac, and there's no flash available either, so he's got to play it careful.
No teleport or anything. Yeah, another death on the Zac, and this lane is going to be pretty much over. Hookshot goes wide. Zac still in some trouble, though. Needs to get back to his tower. He's incredibly low HP. No teleport or anything like that. Not even the passive, as you were just pointing out. Roger Maniac really suffering up here. He is under a lot of threat right now. We have continued push in the bot and mid lanes as well. Composition working as advertised thus far for the Sand Ninjas.
First Drake up, going to be immediately a point of focus. Both sides bringing junglers, so trying to contest this potentially is Mythic Academy. We'll see if they can keep a little bit of pressure around here. If they can do that, if they can delay a potential soul by any means, then they're gonna want to do that. Now it looks like a mid gank is the next call.
Wang is the target. The knockup does come through. Rocket jump available though. Tristana makes it back towards the turret. Yeah, really, you need to get the interrupt on that as the Jarvan if you actually want that gank to be successful, because gravity field just isn't quick enough. As oh Roger, he's probably has a slingshot available, but it just doesn't matter. Camille cuts him down. Panda Lover making that one look very easy. As now the Zac is in a whole bunch of trouble. Lave, the minion wave there in an absolutely horrible position for the Mythic top laner as well. And he is nearly out of the game at this point. Camille is going to be untouchable in the sideline.
I thought Roger was playing that pretty disrespectfully for a while there. Finally ends up getting punished. Panda Lover getting a kill on the board, in addition to that assist from earlier. And it's just going to be a difficult time now. I talked about earlier how I thought top lane was the area that I wanted to see Mythic fight back, but it's very difficult to do that when you're already down 0-2 as the Zac. So we'll see if they can stabilize it, if they can keep the
We
gold
got
deficit
Diego
not
in the
too
area
low.
now. He is looking to add insult to injury. Hex Cycle Tomato comes down. It's already a 2-level difference in the top lane. And Roger goes down for the third time. It's been every single kill so far for the Sand Ninjas has been on Roger. They are just bullying the poor blob.
Now trying to set up a little bit of. Oh, I think that was some wave manipulation to get the push
Mm.
coming back the way of Panda Lover. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but that's what it appeared to be. And since I'm not the top laner here, I'm going to trust the expertise. We'll see how this works out, but I am expecting to see it start pushing back towards Panda Lover and continue making life difficult for Roger Maniac.
Yeah, looks like they did get the crash up there on the minion wave. So yeah, that wave will be pushing out away from the Zac once again. Dav G has himself is able to maintain that nice little CS lead in the jungle as well. It is pretty much lead. Actually, it's if we take a look at the bot lane CS, Royalty has been farming quite well, despite the fact that he's been pushed in continuously for the entirety of this game so far.
I think that that's the typical expectation against like a Heimerdinger lane of any sort, especially a Ziggs Heimerdinger lane. It's tough for them to get kill threat, but now we got a
Oh,
river play.
Royalty has the Featherstorm available. Can go up in the air at any time here, but his jungler already taken out. Rock and Roll able to pick up the first kill of the fight, but they do trade back onto the enemy support as Heimerdinger goes down. But Viego, Dab G is here. He gets the stun. Jack immediately flashes over the wall to keep himself safe. It's a 1-for-1 in the bot side river, but the casualty on the side of Mythic is the jungler. There is the Featherstorm forced out from Royalty as Roger desperately tries to shove in the minion wave. Panda Lover is going to get pulled back by the stretchy strikes. He has the Sheen Power Spike already versus only a Ruby Crystal and a pair of brown paper bags. Here he goes with a hook shot. Roger Maniac, no ultimate. Does have the summoners available once again. So Zac not entirely helpless at this point. Davg looking to finish off the dragon. Does manage to secure the smite. Wang Badang going in with the rocket jump. Picks up the kill. And Davg able to sneak his way out of there through the mist. Now Jack in a whole world of hurt. The Heartbreaker comes down and Victor's heart will indeed be broken as Zac, well, I guess we saw that one coming.
Yeah, I think that this has been a continuous theme around the top lane, but it's just spreading all over the map. The Drake goes down, more kills. I think Wang was expecting a reset on the jump, but didn't have the mana for it, so had to flash. But it didn't matter. That wasn't going to put him in kill threat anyways. The rest of the team was there. They were able to clean it up. Actually, the beginning of the river play, there were two river plays. The first one was extremely well played by Wang, avoiding the flag and drag and then jumping over the wall to get into the tri-brush. That was absolutely massive in that play, and that really set up the regain or the replay around the river, going there a second time, starting up that Drake, and then they were able to go all in, pick up some kills, and now it's a huge advantage all over the map for Sand Ninjas.
It really is. They have managed to accrue a 3,000 gold lead at under 10 minutes, which is very, very substantial. Just so everyone is aware, at home. I think you guys are actually able to see the chat on the stream as well, but just in case anybody missed it, Roger Maniac, the Zach in the top lane for Mythic, has been lagging actually very, very severely. So that surely played a role in him falling as far behind as did. And that is the reason for our current pause for Roger Maniac to try and fix those internet issues.
Hopefully we can get it sorted out pretty soon here, but this gives us a little bit of an opportunity to take inventory of what's going on now. We're 9.5 minutes into the game. Only one Drake taken, and that was around 8 minutes, so not like the earliest of early Drakes, but it did go the way of Sand Ninjas, so they are on their way to start stacking those Drakes up pretty quickly here. And then, other than that, the 3,000 gold lead is mostly in top jungle. There's a slight advantage for Wang in the mid lane, but pretty even in the mid bot areas of the map. So, if there's any way to come back, Jack has one of these kills here, or the only kill, I should say,
True.
so far for Mythic Academy. Maybe Jack going to be looking to carry. They do scale up pretty well. They've got some
They do.
decent pick potential in team fight. So I'm hoping that they can keep the mental, try to stabilize things, and not fall too far out of this game before we get to the point where they can start to have 2-3 items.
Yeah, it's only the first dragon. I think you already mentioned that, Tiger, but it wasn't the fastest first dragon. Going to be a while until any kind of soul is available, and Rift Herald's still up as well. So plenty still to play for here in the early game. It is a very significant lead that the Sand Ninjas have opened up with, but this was kind of what we expected. Just due to the drafting phase. They were just going to have stronger lanes. They weren't necessarily going to have 3 kills on Camille at 10 minutes strong lanes, but it is. This was to some degree. This was to be expected, and absolutely, as you already pointed out, Mythic Academy does have tools to try and turn things around later on into the game.
I think that what's really been impressive to me through the early portions of this game is how Dave has utilized the priority that Sand Ninjas have had in their lanes to
Mm,
get some counter jungling in. We saw that early gank towards the bot lane from Obi-Wan that identified to Dave where the counter jungling opportunity was in the
yeah.
top lane. We can see this in the 4 camp lead as well as the couple extra kills from those top lane ganks. But I think that if that continues, then it's going to be very difficult to respond to because you need resources to get back in the game. And if all of your resources are getting stolen and your top lane wave is getting frozen on you and you can't CS it, then it's going to be very difficult to access anything.
You're just going to keep falling further behind at that point. But I do want to say, I actually did quite like the move towards the bottom lane for Obi-Wan. From watching competitive leagues around the world, we know that bot lane priority is kind of the end all be all of coordinated League of Legends at this point in time on this patch. So I do think that the general strategy was sound for Obi-Wan. The problem is, it was by nature a risky play, right? And it didn't work. So while the idea, I think, pretty good, execution definitely leaving something to be desired. As you can see, everybody back into the game. We do have our pause that we will just have to wait out, but should be back into the action pretty shortly.
Yep, finally back into the game now. I'm expecting to see a rotation towards the Rift Herald off of this reset for Dave. There's a ton of priority in that top lane. Getting the Rift Herald is just the next way to expand upon the gold lead, expand the empire here. We'll see if it's going to end up being that way.
Mhm.
Already seeing roams as well. Perklo getting roams off has been the other exciting
Yeah.
thing to me throughout this game. Wang going in.
Got the rocket jump, gets the reset on the W as well, but taking a lot of damage from the Chaos Storm, so ends up being a relatively even trade overall. I think the Tristana does come out slightly ahead.
Yeah, slightly ahead in health and also up an ultimate. I mean, it's on cooldown
True.
right now, but didn't have to blow that to make that trade happen. So always good to see that going down. And Wang doing pretty good job here, pushing that one out, and that's going to set right up for this Rift Herald, which should be
Beautiful.
pretty free to take for Sand Ninjas.
Love that rotation from the mid laner. Very, very clean stuff. Top lane priority easily obtained as well for the ninjas. And this is just a free objective. Good coordination, good teamwork there. Able to lock that one down, no problem. 3 minutes until the next dragon.
I want to take a moment to think about Ziggs. Oh, no.
Oh, going back in
I
with the
don't
rocket
wanna
jump.
take
Jack, no flash. But he does have his support. And Wang wasn't able to get the reset. He gets locked down by the Encore, and Zarkeen, with a perfectly timed roam into the mid lane, he shuts down the Tristana. Oh,
Can
but
we get
Roger
an
Maniac is in a
F in the
lot
chat
of
for
trouble up here.
Roger?
The 3v1 dive, and Zach just never stood a chance. We're able to take him out, and Viego does have the Rift Herald. I think they might just take that whole turret, Tiger. He's going to go ahead and drop it right now. Oh, it's, there's a lot of plates on that thing still, so at least one of those plates will still be alive after this push. And just going to get
Just
charged
rotate
off.
Ziggs top. You just rotate Ziggs top, take the tower, and then you rotate Ziggs mid from there. This is what I wanted to think about Ziggs, and now I get to say it anyways. But I guess it's not going to matter because that tower is in fact gone.
Oh, I guess Camille just one-shot it. Oh, but she actually didn't fit. Panda Lover! But you forgot to kill the tower, Panda Lover. It's okay. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna have another hook shot. Oh, the slingshot gets the knock up. Jack has the damage. The ultimate coming through from the Zac as well. Panda Lover can't get over the wall, and he's gonna get shut down. He doesn't get the turret. Oh, the gravity field very well placed from Jack. A lot of damage onto the Wang Badang. Can he get the last couple auto attacks down? The exhaust comes out. It's not enough. Jack, I think that was a double for the victor. And now Jack 0107 in a great place to try and carry this one. We got Viego in the bot lane. Gets out the Blade Caller. Royalty. Ooh, the Blade Caller actually doesn't get the root, and the burst takedown comes through. Dab able to pick up the Seraphine body. They're able to trade back the side of Sand Ninjas. They get a kill on the bottom side to recover for their top laner as Panda Lover teleporting back in, diving straight onto the Zac, who, oh my god, he gets him down to half HP with like 2 armor. Oh, that was so scary for Roger. He slingshot into the river, though, and the Zac should be out for now.
That's your Camille gameplay post Divine Sunderer completion. Divine Sunderer for multiple members now. And here's the other member with Divine Sunderer.
Yeah, DavG, he's found a Jarvan who is very far behind right now. The blue buff, I believe, did go over to the Viego, who's going to flash out of the Cataclysm, but he can't quite finish off that kill as Obi-Wan flashes away to keep himself alive. Jack, the strongest member here on the Victor, trying to stand strong towards the bottom side. He's moving forward pretty far, though. He's going to get stunned up by Viego. He flashes away. He stays alive. The Blast Cone looked a little silly there. And the Encore will not connect onto the Viego. He picks up a kill onto the Xayah. The Blade's now over the wall. Does he have a reset on the ult? He does! And DavG picks up the double.
Well, we're back to the old ways of seeing this invasion come through from Sand Ninjas, seeing them living in the enemy jungle, and Wang looking for another reset.
Oh, Wang? He's got the explosive charge to try and... Oh, and he's got his jungler here, too. Obi-Wan trying to dash away. There's the rocket jump. Wang held on to it, and he's going to use it to pick up that kill. And now, poor Zarkeen, there's nothing he can do. That's another kill on the support now, as well as the Sand Ninjas really running away with this one. They have extended their gold lead to around 6,000 now at 15 minutes. And they are looking very, very poised to secure their first Nexus of Season 14.
There are no peace treaties being signed in this game. It's just a constant brawl.
Okay, Roger Maniac gonna go with the Let's Bounce, gonna get some decent damage down onto the Lover of Pandas, but he has no shots trying. Oh, he's gonna go back in, and there goes the Zac straight back into the passive. Chaos Storm does some, but it doesn't do enough, and they're gonna give it over to the Wang. Oh, that's a Perklo flashing forward. Gets actually, well, no, Jack didn't have the flash, but Victor will be able to walk away. DavG going with Harper. Oh, Panda Lover going in. He's very low HP on the Camille, but it just doesn't matter. They're so far ahead. Obi-Wan throws down a Cataclysm, but it's just going to be his own grave. So they get another kill onto the Jarvan. 15-5 now on the scoreboard. The Sand Ninjas absolutely ripping them to pieces.
That was actually very beautiful mechanics from Panda Lover. I believe that the Cataclysm damage was dodged by the Hextech Ultimatum, but even if it wasn't, it pushed all of the other members out of range. And on the other side of the Cataclysm wall, they weren't able to do anything about the fight. And Panda Lover able to solo out Obi-Wan there and able to finish off the kill. So we just continue to see Sand Ninja snowballing forward. They're going to finally use the Ziggs rotation to pick up a tower here mid. They were able to push over the last HP of this top lane tower to get the first brick as well, and their gold lead has expanded to about 6,000.
It sure has, yes. It was a great call out on the mechanics from Panda Lover. I did miss that in the play-by-play, as there goes, he does have no access to the Hextech Ultimatum right now on the side of the Camille, which does mean that the Zac will escape for the moment.
Gonna just be surviving for the time being,
Yeah.
trying to get anything here, just picking up the Krugs, and that feels bad for Obi-Wan. But now there's gonna be another fight.
Gonna face check a Jarvan here. Maybe not the brightest of ideas, but he has a lot of damage, and it turns out he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. As Panda Lever goes under the turret, and he bit off a bit more than he could chew as he goes down to the structure there in the top lane. In the mid lane, it is a little bit of a wave clear ultimate from Royalty, but he's able to dissuade the push from Wang for now.
They're playing like they have Baron.
They really are, and it hasn't even spawned onto the Rift yet, as Roger will bounce his way to safety, but will have to abandon the defense of this tier 2 in the top lane. Oh, he's got some people rotating over. Jack is going to try and make his way in as Wang rocket jumps away. And they will be able to save the turret for now with a full rotation of the entire team into that top lane.
Well, Baron may not be on the map yet, but Rift Herald sure is. The second Herald going to be picked up here as well.
Indeed.
2 towers already taken. Looking to push even further here. Potentially can get the tier 2 mid with it, or they could start looking to push bot further. Actually, the bot turret being taken last is a bit ironic with the Ziggs.
That's Jarvan going in with the EQ. He's just going to dunk the Heimerdinger. He's just going to dunk him.
Mission accomplished. Got the pick. Urklo a little bit too far forward there. Going to be taken out. Has been the most vulnerable so far of all of the players on Sand Ninjas, but despite being a little bit too far forward in that instance, it's paid off in the past, so we won't flame him too hard for it.
He just he wasn't expecting to be for the Jarvan to be waiting for him in that bush necessarily, and it was quite a lot of damage that came out very quickly. So, oh, Wang, well, interrupted on the rocket jump there. Tristana could be in trouble, but does he get the reset? He flashes the encore. That was really clean from Wang, but the knockup comes through the stretching strikes, deny the second activation of the rocket jump, but the team is here, and Tristana is going to be able to get another reset there in the end. Roger, no escape from the Camille cage. He's going to get taken out as well. It is 3 quick kills in the bot lane, going the way of the Sand Ninjas. They're continuing to push now. Tristana and Camille are going to absolutely eviscerate this turret. It's just gone. Not to even mention the Ziggs execute on that one. 19.5 minutes. They're looking to break the base. Can they do it right now? Looks like they might elect to go for a reset instead. We do have our third dragon in 20 seconds, right as Wang gets shut down by Xayah. That was a maxed out shutdown, I believe, for Royalty. A 400 gold shutdown, excuse me. So 700 total gold for that kill.
The next words that were about to come out of my mouth were going to be glowing about how good the mechanics from Wang have been this game.
Wow. So
and I caster cursed him before I even said it. He just had to go run it. But now we're going to have the dragon fight. This is for the third Drake of the game. Cloud Soul point on the line. And we'll see if the health bars are going to be able to survive. But there's a ton of poke coming out.
Tristana's not here for this fight. That's a huge cataclysm from Obi-Wan. He's able to survive for a while as well. He will go down eventually. They already took out the Heimerdinger. Panda Lover clinging to life on the Camille. Dab G buying a lot of time, causing a lot of chaos in the back line. He's going to go golden, but he is surrounded on all sides now as they take him down. They'll shut down the Viego as well. Can the side of Mythic Academy secure their first neutral of the game. They're going to try to start this one up. There is no jungler for the Sand Ninjas. Wang trying desperately to move in here. He rocket jumps over the wall. He dodges away from the Zac, but he's on the wrong side. Oh, Panda Lover flying in there with the hook shot. Gets the first kill onto the mid lane. The Victor, the strongest member, goes down. And now Wang jumping forward. He's got the resets. They're gonna get everybody, Tiger. The Jarvan is alive, but there's nothing he can do. He can't come over here by himself. And in the end, it will be Cloud Soul Point secured for the Ninjas.
In the end, it doesn't even matter. But it was such a great first fight coming out there from Mythic Academy. They were able to get a pick and turn that into 2 kills right off the bat. And if they had recognized that their health bars weren't high enough to stay around, if they had recognized that Wang was about to come back onto the map with 2 items complete, then they could have come away pretty far ahead off of that fight, or at least having gotten a big gold advantage on the reset. But they wanted to greed for the Drake, they wanted to delay the soul further, and it ends up backfiring for them, and now they are just over 9,000 gold behind, and they're going to have to find a way to fight in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I do actually want to push back on your point a little bit there, Tiger. Because they did have numbers advantage in the river, right? Because they had already killed off the Viego. Camille was extraordinarily low. Tristana was coming from base. Heimerdinger wasn't there either. So it was really just like Ziggs, low HP Camille, and then Wang just rolling up to the fight. And they still had 4 people there. Yes, they had low health bars, but when you're this far behind, you have to go for desperate plays like that to try and get yourself back in it. So maybe if they'd played it a little bit better, if they'd actually been able to lock down the Tristana before she went for that first rocket jump, it could have looked a little bit differently, but the way things played out certainly was not in the favor of Mythic Academy, and now, as you say, they are incredibly far behind, staring down Cloud Soul in just 3.5 minutes time, and the Baron actually being threatened right now by the side of the Ninjas. Oh, that is Roger Maniac gonna get trapped by the Hextech Ultimatum once again. No way out there. Kill number 25 and number 8 for Wang.
Gonna be enough to start up this Baron here. The ultimates are back up and available, so if this 4v5 gets taken, it might be possible to win.
Yeah, absolutely. That is Obi-Wan.
That's copium. They cannot win this 4v5.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice Heimerdinger ultimate. Gets a stun onto Jack. That is Seraphine flashing away. Nice encore. Gets a lot. Oh, man. Sorry about that, guys. A lot of CC, but they're just too far behind. Panda Lover may get cleaned up here. Gale Force forward. Royalty finds it. Wang Badang, though, he's so strong on the Triss. Just jumping in there. Finishing off those kills. The flash forward. And Wang is just rampaging all over him. Sorry about the call.
Wang. It happens. It's just a bodily function. Nothing that you can do about that. But unfortunately for Mythic Academy, there's also nothing that they can do about the base being opened here. The Baron buff going to be pushed to a high degree of effectiveness here. 3 members still available for Sand Ninjas with it. They already have taken out the mid inhib. Surely they will be able to take out the bot lane tier 3 as well. We'll see what they want to do as far as lane assignments go. I'm expecting the 1-4 with Panda Lover going top lane here. But there's a lot of options, and as long as they commit to something, I'm pretty sure it's going to work.
Yeah, absolutely, Tiger. When you have a gold lead this large, there really are very few plays that are bad. It's pretty much, as long as you're on the same page with the rest of your team, pretty much anything you go for is going to work out.
Calling out my solo queue teammates who sometimes are not willing to full commit to one plan or another and get the 2v5s in the base while there's someone going and taking our jungle, as we're getting another dive top.
Yeah, it's just Roger Maniac. I mean, he does have his Seraphine in the area this time. He's going to go back in with the slingshot. Encore does connect. They clip that onto Panda Lover, and he can't escape. He goes down. But look at the bot lane. It's already Tristano and Viego starting to pressure the bottom lane inhibitor turret. Cloud Drake in less than a minute. Wang looking to make short work of this one. Just have to back off. He picks up aggro thanks to the explosive charge there. So they're not quite able to finish off the tier 3 in the bot lane. They did lose their Camille, but Panda Lover does have the teleport available. When he respawns, he'll still have about 15 seconds to rejoin with the rest of the team before the dragon makes its way onto the rift. Perklo having to flash there to get away from the combo in the mid lane. Summoner spell down for the Heimerdinger, but still, it is control over this entire bottom side of the map for the side of the Sand Ninjas, and I don't see them relinquishing that control anytime soon.
They're going to be looking to make sure this Drake goes their direction. They want to pick up the Cloud Soul. It's so good for them this game. I mean, yeah, Viego with Cloud Soul, that's crazy. And like Heimerdinger can use it a lot because the upgrades up pretty often. Tristana, I mean, we've seen Wang repositioning super effectively on this Tristana all game. So getting that one off can sure help as well. Cloud Soul confirmed, and I can't wait to see the usage of that ability.
Yeah, it is going to be really, really massive for the side of the Sand Ninjas. They are very, very favored now in this game. They should be able to close it out pretty cleanly from here. I mean, it's a 12,000 gold lead, for goodness sakes.
I think that they're about 3 fight losses away from losing this game. Like, they would have to get full 5-0'd 3 times. And if that happens, then maybe there's a chance for Mythic to win. But it's at the you have to throw to lose state.
For sure. All right, so according to Tiger, we have 3 clean aces for the side of Mythic Academy incoming. Panda Lover going to take a couple of tower shots. And,
they didn't die.
With the Let's Bounce, they didn't die. Not just yet. Roger Maniac able to defend the turret with the ultimate from the Zac. Siege will continue, though. Still plenty of time. Or no, they, I think, yeah, no longer access to Baron. That buff has fallen off.
Going to be coming back up pretty soon. If they can pick up another Baron, then that surely would be a sign that they should be ending the game. They were eventually able to push in the tier 2 top lane tower, but they didn't end up taking the tier 3 bot like I had prescribed. They took instead the Cloud Soul, which is arguably a greater prize. Probably not arguably. It is a greater prize than getting that tier 3 bot. But with another Baron, that I would have to feel that they would be pushing in for triple inhib and trying to look to end the game.
Yeah, that should be a pretty straightforward game plan at this point for the Sand Ninjas. We got 50 seconds till the purple worm slithers his way back into the pit. Obi-Wan is just, he knows what he has to do. He's got to try and go for a steal. He desperately needs to get a little bit of vision somewhere in this jungle, but it's just so hard. He immediately has to flash away from the threat from DavG's Viego.
I think he's gonna have to find a Jedi mind trick to win this game. You got to use the Force when you're this far behind. You got to will them to smite early or something to be able to have.
I mean, that's assuming you can even get into the pit to go for the 50-50. I mean, the way it's looking right now, Obi-Wan can't even get close. They are starting to push up the mid lane. But that doesn't mean they're exposed. We got Perklo on the flank. He's got the grenade. The Heimerdinger ultimate. The Ziggs ult comes out as well. Featherstorm comes out for the Xayah. Kites back very nicely. That is going into the GA. I think is Panda Lover in the middle. It was DavG. He's moving forward now. It's going to be the Jarvan who is the first casualty. And Roger Maniac stunned up. Can't get off the slingshot. They do finish off the jungler. But now it's Zac into the passive. They're going to be able to finish him off as well. It's a 2-for-1 in the mid lane. As, the explosive charge gets a lot of damage on everybody. As the Xayah goes down, the Q2 comes out from the lover of pandas. He finishes off the victor, and with Jack falls, the last hopes of Mythic Academy go with him. Wang takes out the inhibitor in the mid lane. They're going to push through top potentially to end. They've got another wave coming in mid as well. This game is over, Tiger. It is going to be the Sand Ninjas picking up their first win in Style Esports Season 14, their first team win of 2023.
They drafted a good comp and executed well on it. What can I say? They had the push in all 3 lanes, and they just looked dominant start to finish. a really good game coming out from Sand Ninjas, particularly from Wang, but I think all across the board, everyone played well. Rock and Roll, we didn't talk much about the Zigs, but 5-0-15 is always a very impressive
Mm-mm.
scoreline. Just able to push out that bot lane and be consistent in not dying, even though the extension was pretty far. And then the rest of the team playing on the edge of a knife. They're able to find the plays and come out on top in pretty much all of them. So that leads to Cloud Soul, leads to victory, and we'll see if they can parlay that into game number 2 and get themselves not just the first game victory, but the first match victory of the season.
It certainly is on the table, my friend. Panda Lover really tearing things up in the top lane. Everybody on the side of San Andreas did quite well, but Panda Lover most damage, sitting at just shy of 28,000. Honorable mention to Jack on the Victor over there for Mythic Academy. He had the second most, pretty much tied with the Ziggs actually. But Jack actually had a very solid game. It just seemed like the both of the side lanes kind of fell apart for Mythic Academy very early on. They were losing out in the jungle as well, and it was just too much for Jack to overcome. But certainly, the shining light for Mythic Academy in that one. See if maybe they could turn things around with his help in game 2. But yes, it was absolutely well played from Sand Ninjas. I think we both liked the draft quite a bit. They played it out very well. Dav G with some very intelligent reactions to what Obi-Wan was trying to do in the early game. And yeah, pretty straightforward overall. They got the early lead and they pretty much just held on to it for the whole way through.
Maybe if Roger has better internet in game number 2, then we'll have a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
story to tell. Obviously, having ping issues is not something that we want to see, but that's part of
right.
life when you're playing in not on a LAN. So, got to take that into consideration. And honestly, I thought Royalty had a pretty decent game as well, CSing pretty effectively. The damage numbers
Yeah,
aren't very high, but if you're an ADC on a losing team that gets outranged, then it is really hard to do a lot of damage. So I think that if game number 2 looks any different, then there's going to be possibilities. Royalty and Jack having a pretty good night, and I felt like it was
yeah.
hard to judge how Zartini was doing as well. So hopefully they're going to be able to go back into the draft, pull out something that's maybe a little bit better at fighting back early on in the game, and give us a close match all the way through.
Absolutely. Hoping for some better internet for Roger. Hoping for some strong performances across the board for Mythic in game 2. Hopefully they can get us to that 3-game match tonight, but we'll just have to wait and see. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with game 2 draft right after this short break. See you soon. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are into our Game 2 draft. We have the exact same sides here for Game 2. The Sand Ninjas returning to blue because Mythic Academy has elected to stay on red side. Clearly, they feel the side selection was not the issue in Game 1, and they're going to be potentially doing a little bit of a run back here, Tiger.
We'll see how much of a run back it is. We had a
We'll
little
see.
bit of some interesting features in the last draft. The flexible Ziggs first pick, obviously being the thing that comes to the forefront of my mind, but also making use of the triple physical topside. That could be countered by something like a Rammus or a Malphite being locked in. So we'll see if they want to stick with the same early draft prioritization, but already we're going to see something different with the Zaya band being locked in by Sand Ninjas.
They're a little bit intimidated by Royalty's performance on the Zaya despite the loss. And it would be the exact same bans for Mythic Academy. They will not change up anything in the way of that first phase of ban. So B1 Ziggs available for the Ninjas again if they would like to go for it.
I think that with the way that Royalty was playing the Zaya, it makes a lot of sense. I feel like the Zaya fantasy is like to fly around
Ooh.
and shoot feathers and be like difficult to pin down, which was kind of similar to how we saw Wang doing it last game. But I think that we had a few moments where we got to see it, particularly with Gale Force. I feel like Zaya's fantasy is fully realized, so sometimes like the game developers like to talk about the fantasy of the character if they feel like they're being played out to their fullest extent of that. And I noticed that with the Zaya gameplay in the last game, particular like I saw a Gale Force to reposition for an E. It didn't work out, but I thought to myself, that is the fantasy of Zaya.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as we already mentioned, at the end of the previous game, Royalty played it out extremely well on the pick. So definitely don't mind the ban. But the picks have been quite different in the early portion of this draft, Tiger. It was the Vi first pick for Dav G, changing things up from what was a pretty solid performance on the Viego. We're going to be doing something a little bit different here. And then the response for Mythic Academy, Sejuani and Jax, a very powerful top jungle duo. And then the set into the Jax for Panda Lover is definitely a little bit of a gauntlet, I think. And then the Ziggs will once again make an appearance in the first phase of selections for the Sand Ninjas.
This feels almost like a scrim. It's like we already tried first picking Ziggs. We saw that getting lane priority in 3 lanes and having a Viego is going to work out well. We're just gonna totally flip our idea of the draft. Is the Bard also coming in for Mythic Academy? That's gonna be pretty hype. We'll
Yeah.
see if that's going to change the tides for them. But this just an entirely different draft from what we saw in game number one. Save for the Ziggs. Ziggs going to be a three-way flex once again, like we talked about, but going to be saving potentially bot support picks for the second half of the draft.
Yeah, so the Bard is, or Zyrene, I should say, or Zarkine, excuse me, is a Bard main. This is his most played, their most played. Had 57 games on the Bard last season, 54% win rate, so reasonably good. And it is most played this season as well, although the win rate not quite there just yet. So this is comfort for the Mythic Academy support player, and it's going to be the Kaisa paired up alongside that Royalty will be piloting this time around, as a couple of 80 carry bands did come through from the side of the Sand Ninjas. And I think Royalty pushed down a little bit there in terms of the champion pool, but still has the the Kaisa. Oh, man, words. The Kaisa to fall back to, which does pair extremely well with something like Sejuani and Jax that want to dive forward and start off those fights. Oh my goodness, that Teemo has just been locked in, Tiger.
Isa sounds kind of like Zaya and also plays kind of like Zaya, so it makes a lot of sense in this situation to be bringing that in. Like you're saying, it's dive buddies time. We're gonna see the bard turn off the tower, and then everybody comes in trying to make a play. I think that it's gonna be a pretty sound team comp coming together from Mythic Academy, and a pretty I'm not sure if it's sound yet. Comp coming in from Sand Ninjas. I'm not inclined to immediately say that it isn't sound. I mean, it's got some good principles to it, but I what it looks like to me is that it's going to be Yone mid, Set top, and Ziggs Teemo bot lane. So we're
Yeah.
just gonna have to figure out about that last part if that's any good or not.
Right. Mythic Academy did ban away the Heimerdinger, so Perkla wasn't able to pick up the Heimerdinger again, and I guess they still wanted a double AP bot lane, so went with the Teemo. But kind of my perspective on this whole situation is that the Sand Ninjas, you actually were right on the money earlier. I think Tiger. They actually believe that this is a script that they're playing in right now, and they actually want to have this be very competitive, and they want to go to that third game. Is kind of my assessment of the situation.
Yeah, maybe. The, and not only did they want to keep the double AP bot lane, but they needed another Yordle for their Yordle compositions as well. So, Sand
Yeah.
Ninja's employers of the Yordles, Yordle fans, let yourselves be known in the chat. I know that Teemo was not that popular in the past, but rising in popularity as more toxic champions come out. Definitely not the most hated champion in this game right now.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose that is true.
Sharpening my feather.
Um,
Come back strong.
and they say they don't have the same number of Yordles that they did in the previous game. They're -1 Yordle on the side of Sand Ninjas. So if that's what they're going for, then I would say they weren't really able to accomplish that in the drafting phase. But regardless, that's maybe not the most important thing. We'll just have to see how all the pieces work together, because the top side is I think very scary. It's very straightforward. Set Vi Yone, you just kind of run at them and punch them in the face, and then they die. Is really what you're kind of hoping to accomplish. But the academy, I think, is pretty well equipped for those kind of 3v3s towards the top side of the map. But Jax, Sejuani, Silas
I'll be fun.
are not slouches by any means. I mean, Jax is going to need a little bit more time to scale than something like the set.
Shall I
But
turn in my
besides
badge
that,
and rifle as well?
I mean, I think that Mythic Academy actually should be able to match on that top side quite nicely. And I think it might come down to the bot lane, Tiger. I think Ziggs versus Kaisa might have a big impact on this particular game.
I've just considered what a team fight might look like around an objective, and it's occurred to me that Sand Ninjas have a lot of ways to manipulate the location of the Mythic Academy champions. And when you have a Teemo and you can force the opponents to step on the shrooms, that's kind of a good formula for success. I think that we might see a lot of value out of this Teemo pick, particularly if Sand Ninjas get ahead. I'm expecting them to once again have push in that bot lane, push in the mid lane as well. I'm not a huge fan of the Silas pick into Yone because I'm almost positive that the Yone is going to win that matchup most of the time. And the top lane, it's hard to say. I think Set's usually pretty good at being a weak side. So this time around, it's going to be a lot more focus on Wang's Yone, in my opinion, from Sand Ninjas. But once again, we're in a position where I'd like to see a lot of the jungle pressure from Mythic Academy coming towards the top lane, try to get Roger ahead. Even more so on the Jax than on the Zac. I think Zac is alright from ahead, especially if you can get into those AP items. But Jax is very difficult to deal with from ahead. A really good split push option. And if you have the pressure in the top lane of the split pushing Jax that can't be 1v1 by anyone, then that gives you a lot more room to work with a roaming bard around the rest of the map, with a Silas that can take some of these big impactful ultimates and try to use them against Sand Ninjas. So hopefully we're going to see a little bit more balanced top lane in the early game, but maybe getting some more focus there from Obi-Wan is the formula for success.
Yeah, certainly. I think that could be really good. I mean, Sejuani has those double melee solo laners, right? That she can play around, which is a really comfortable place for the champion to be working from, I should say. So definitely, if they are able to accomplish that, if they're able to set the Panda Lover behind this time around, this game could look very different. Overall, Tiger, do you have a preference between these two compositions? Would you like to give us a prediction for our second game tonight?
Yeah, I would like to give us a prediction, and I think that the Vi is going to be the biggest difference from this game, from last game. I think that Dave is going to want to gank a lot more, and that's probably going to work out pretty effectively. I think there may be opportunities for a little bit of armor stacking on the Sejuani for Obi-Wan, but that's going to require getting a lead. I think that we're going to get a lot of skirmishes early on in the top side of the map this time. But
Yeah.
I think that ultimately it's going to look very similar to last game. Based off of the results of last game, I'll bump it up to 65% chance for Sand
Ooh.
Ninjas, but they should have a lot of opportunities to get ahead early.
All right. We'll see if Sand Ninjas are able to keep up the momentum. They just secured their first Nexus of Season 14. Maybe they can make it their first match win as well. A 2-0 would be quite a statement for the Ninjas coming off some tough losses. Or will Mythic Academy be able to bounce back? Will they be able to give us the 3-game series by feasting on this Teemo support? We'll just have to wait and see, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be on to the Rift for Game 2 in just a minute. Okay, everyone, welcome back to Runeterra as we get underway with game number 2 of the night. Perklo moving in aggressively into the enemy jungle. He's auto-attacking the Sejuani, and Sejuani is running pretty low on HP. We'll have to retreat, but nothing else will occur at level 1.
And over this little bit extra extended break, my bad on that part, but I was able to think a little bit more about the Teemo support. So one of the defining features of Teemo support is the ability to blind the enemy AD carry. In
Hmm.
certain matchups, that makes it almost impossible to CS. It's not quite as bad for Kaisa, who can land Q and W while blinded and try to get some CS through that, but still there's some opportunity to try to make the opponent miss some CS that way. And that's what Teemo is probably best for. Just being annoying in general is the MO, and we'll see
Right.
if that's going to be enough to win this lane pretty handily.
We shall see. So Yone Silas is certainly an explosive matchup in the mid lane here. That one, I feel it could go either way. Roger Maniac starting Counter-Strike. Going to be able to get the stun. Gets a pretty favorable trade. He's running Lethal Temp. Oh, that is a stun onto the Teemo very early. The blind does come through. Teemo's one ability used very effectively there to prevent Kaisa from getting the last plasma stack activated. So decent amount of damage actually traded back there onto Royalty. And that is a level 2 first for Panda Lover, although Roger Maniac is very quickly going to follow him. Top laners trading back and forth. Oh, Panda Lover doesn't have the cooldowns available right now. Facebreaker going to come back up soon. I think it doesn't have the Haymaker yet, as how Roger Maniac going to go in and forces the flash out from Panda Lover. So Roger off to a much better start here in the beginning of game 2. Is Jack going to dash away from the unbound Yone?
Already gonna
Vi
force the
is
teleport back.
going for a very interesting play here. Cleared her bot side camps into a gank and will actually get the flash out from Royalty. So able to accomplish something in the bottom lane. And Kaisa Bard are going to have to play this one safe for now. What were you saying, Tiger?
I was just saying that the teleport already being forced out from Panda Lover means that that's going to be a very gankable lane and a lot of to gain
Oh,
from it.
Wang? He's just dead. Oh, Jack picking up where he left off at the end of game 1. He picks up the first blood. And that is massive for Mythic Academy. They're able to find themselves with a nice early lead.
With the double melees, the mid lane is a lot more volatile this time. Now shouting out the knowledge.
Oh, that was Dabji. That was a clean flash vault breaker from the Vi Ignite coming down. Royalty, the last auto. And Perklo will pick it up on the Teemo support. Very nice Vi mechanics there. Nicely done by Dab to set that one up.
It was like Royalty was saying, I know you're there with the W that landed in the bush. But then Dave is just like, yeah, but I don't care. And then immediately all ins, able to find the kill there. Good work to get some plays across the map. But early on, this is going a lot better for Mythic Academy. They're already able to be up about 3 camps in the jungle, as well as having that kill in the mid lane. So they're going to be just about dead even on the gold. But getting a kill onto the Teemo support, maybe that's just what they needed to explode the spot lane. So Sand Ninja's getting some back here.
Well, the Teemo support isn't in bot lane right now. He's actually made his way towards the top side of the map. Not able to really do much up there right now. As, of course, Obi-Wan was able to go for the invade when he saw the Vi towards the bottom side, as Wang able to secure a decent trade for himself in the mid lane just now. As Teemo is now going to make its way back down towards the bottom side. Has to go through mid lane to do it. So, what is this going to look like? Does Jack overextend without any vision? He will! He's going to overextend. He gets exhausted. In comes Dad with the Vault Breaker. And Teemo is here with the auto attacks. He's auto attacking real good, but Zarkeen actually gets the double cosmic binding. And Obi-Wan now flashing in there, trying to get the lockdown. Needs a couple more autos. Vi going back into the Vault Breaker, but Dad will get dropped. It is now Mythic Academy with a 2-1 kill lead. They're going to push back Wang and Perklo for now. They will manage to take control over the bot side river, potentially start up this first dragon.
I was gonna say a false sense of security in the mid lane for Jack with the rest of the team pretty nearby in the river, but it ended up being a true sense of security as it is the counter kill coming through, and Jack is picking it up, so that means that once again it's going to be a good situation in the mid lane, even better this time around than last time.
Oh, that is the stolen fate sealed by Jack, able to secure the kill onto the mid laner. Panda Lover leveled down right now. Roger Maniac already ticking over to 6, has the ultimate up and ready to go. Perklo in the bot side rush is a Teemo. And Roger Maniac is going to successfully push in the wave in the top side. Nobody willing to start up the dragon just yet. Panda Lover going to be able to collect the wave here, no problem. As Roger, he won. He won. He won. Roger Maniac with a clean solo kill in the top lane. Jax on the board.
Able to extend the advantage across the map. Now it's not just Jack, it's both solo lanes ahead, and maybe in the bot lane as well.
Ignited, burning down. Bard also burning down, also ignited. And the Bard's going to have to hightail his way out of the lane, and Royalty, you better go along with him, or you're going to be severely outnumbered in a second here. The Vault Breaker will connect. Good damage onto the Kai'Sa, but the stun from the Bard does come through to save the 80. Oh, the Praise Seeker! Royalty will find his mark. 5-1 now. Mythic Academy pulling ahead.
And another kill going down. Royalty this time picking one up. Doing a better early job than last game. This time it's a little bit reversed as it's Rock and Roll who's ahead on the CS, but it is Royalty with the kill. And now an invade coming out, trying to get some revenge for last game. Obi-Wan getting a piece of the action here. Mythic Academy starting off very strong with a 2,000 gold lead. First Drake still hasn't been taken yet, but they have the priority over it. They can look to start that one up again. We can remember that they were starting it up before, but they decided to drop it in order to save their mid laner, and that has proven to be very worthwhile since.
Yeah, absolutely. 3-0 right now. Jack on the Silas doing extremely well here in game 2. And Roger Maniac having a much better time of things up there on the top side as well. Is found himself also with an early lead, and Jax, as we know, is a much better scaler in the side lane than something like a Set. So Roger feeling much better about how the second game is going as well.
I talked last game about how when you're behind, having some pick helps you potentially come back in it, and how Mythic's comp had that in the last game, and kind of how they have that this game as well. But also the case is that there's a lot of pick available for Sand Ninjas, as we might see some of it right now.
Roger Maniac has a leap strike, so he's actually just going to jump away. He sees the Vi coming and is able to react in time. So Jack's going to be just fine. Sorry to interrupt you there, Tiger. We actually we are going to have a Rift Herald start now by Dav and Perklo, who's made his way back up towards the top side once again as well. Jack's going to go in. He's going to pop the ultimate. Counter-Strike, not going to find anybody as his mid laner rotating down. Assault and Battery comes out. A lot of damage onto the Jax. Roger Maniac can be... Oh, he's trying to jump away. He's trying to survive, but the poison takes down the Jax. Will be the first captain. But the nice Glacial Prison locks down the Teemo. They should be able to burst him out, but no. Perklo flashing away, staying alive. Panda Lover flashing away as well, but Dav G not going to be so lucky. Vi goes down. Royalty is finding himself in a 1v1 against the Ziggs. Will not be able to finish him off. Commits the Killer Instinct. Not quite able to finish the kill. Zarkeen zoning away Perklo right now towards the top side. Silas and Sejuani on the objective. They should be able to lock this one down. 1-for-1 overall with Mythic Academy with another objective. They should be able to extend their lead very shortly.
It was a good start to the fight there from Dave, able to go in with the cease and desist and then find the two-man Vault Breaker, almost enough to win the fight. On the back end of it, it just gets cleaned up. Jack picking up another kill, 4-0-0 on the Silas now. just doing so well. Now Royalty could be in trouble.
He certainly could be, as Dabg doesn't have the ultimate available right now. Ziggs does. Will toss it out, but doesn't quite manage to hit the sweet spot. So Royalty actually going to be able to just walk out of that one relatively comfortably. Second dragon. No, wait. Actually, it is the first dragon still. Nobody's taken it yet. It's still alive. But the side of Sand Ninjas will start it up now, and Sejuani's not in the area. So this should be a pretty easy secure. It's an extraordinarily late first dragon.
Jack's pretty fast,
I don't
though.
know if anybody is. Oh, Jack just flying. Oh, Jack. He just eviscerates them in the pits. And there's no jungler, and it just doesn't matter. Mythic Academy picks up a couple of quick kills. Jack now with 5 under his belt. They get the objective as well, and the mid laner for Mythic Academy is just taking over.
Did you say that he eviscerated them in the pants? That's just brutal, man.
In the pit, in the pit, he is where, well, Ziggs is dead.
Maybe he eviscerated them in the pants too, but whatever.
Maybe he did. Oh, they've got the 2v1 now. Both ultimates committed. The CC a little bit overlapped there. The exhaust committed as well. Jack is quite low. He's trying to flash away, but he will not be able to escape. It was a dash, excuse me. He didn't have the flash, as that is a nice Bard ultimate to keep the Teemo in place. They're going to be able to take him out. And the Herald charge into the bot tier 1 as well. Going to be a lot of gold into the pockets of Royalty on this Kai'Sa. But the shutdown was very, very massive. Let me see who picked up that shutdown. It was the Yone, who got a very big shutdown onto the silo. So he is going to be accelerated now. Remember, we do have on this patch a buff to Infinity Edge. So the 2-item spike for Yone, even more threatening than it was formerly.
Yeah, going to be able to do a lot of work with that, but you got to get there before you can actually start feeling the effects of it. Not even on one item just yet.
Right.
I mean, it's a little bit early to be on an item, but we already see the Everfrost coming out, the Kraken Slayer. The first items coming through from the laners of Mythic Academy. We'll see if they're going to be able to continue pushing their advantage. They've got 5,000 gold lead, so it makes a lot of sense that they'd be on their items already. Cull being utilized by Royalty as well. I love the Cull. Now we got a gank from Perklo.
Yeah, we sure do. The Teemo is going to make his way into the mid lane once again. Jack is trying to push his way towards the bot side, and he has his jungler waiting in the wings. But the Glacial Prison connects onto an unbound soul. And that means that Wang is not really going to be too bothered by it.
Gonna be able to just snap back with that one. Gonna be all right. Now we'll see if Rock and Roll can survive the dive.
Okay, yep, we've got his Ziggs all by his lonesome down here. He doesn't even have a turret. He goes, oh, Jack! Oh, he will go down, actually. Takes the extra turret shot at the end there. Maybe, I mean, I guess it's hard to juggle the aggro when the tower is in stasis like that. Like, you don't really know who's going to pick it up when it comes back online. So a little bit unlucky there, I suppose, for Mythic Academy. They do lose one in return. But they do have a decent amount of control over the bot side, as Dav is looking to change that, going in with the cease and desist. But Dav G is quite far now from the rest of his team, and will have to back off a little bit. Use the ultimate, not able to quite lock anybody down for long enough. As Wang, gonna go in with the 2-man fate sealed. Is it enough? It isn't quite. He snaps back just in time before the last auto attack can take him out. Perklo is going to die, and actually Wang is going to get chased down as well. So Yone trying to go for the turnaround there. Wasn't quite enough. And now that is going to be a couple more kills going into the hands of Mythic Academy. And there should be set up very nicely for the second Drake in just over a minute's time.
I didn't quite see what the overlap was. I saw the 3-man knockup coming from the Q3, but I didn't see who the Fate Sealed missed. I know Wang wasn't able to overlap on everyone, so not quite what he wanted there.
Oh, Roger is a level up, but he's getting jumped on. He's kind of trying to leap strike away to the control where Perklo going to flash after him with the auto attacks, and Set able to land a punch as well. Means that it will be enough Roger committing the flash there as well, still goes down. And that is a nice kill. Going back the way of the Sand Ninjas. It's not enough, though. They're going to need a few more of those if they want to get back into this second game.
Urklo is the captain now. 3-4-0 on the Teemo. Not giving the kills to anyone else. Got to stack up that Dark Seal, you know. Going to be looking to pick up some more kills on the way through this one. Not on the first item yet, but getting pretty close, I have to imagine. Once that Leandries is through, it's going to be a lot more work coming through. Also, I just noticed that the visual clarity is a little bit weird, and that's because we've got the double Stinger bot lane, we got the BMO, and
I
we
did
got
notice
the,
that, yeah.
what's the Ziggs one called? Is it Ziggs or something?
Oh goodness, I don't remember. Here, there's no way for us to find out, is there? Because we can't pull up the scoreboard. We'll just have to research that a little bit later. I'm not sure what the name of the skin is, but definitely some very nice Skinergy coming out there. Oh, Jack, he has a nasty flank angle. It was Dav that was able actually to secure the Rift Herald, but they did lose a couple more people in exchange. And second Rift Herald, I mean, it's kind of a lot more difficult to get value out of that. Oh, Panda Lover, the back was stopped. He does have the Showstopper available. He's going to try and use it onto the Bard, try and taxi his way to safety. The slow comes down, though. The Arctic Assault connects as well. Panda Lover with the Haymaker, a last-ditch attempt to stay alive, but it's not enough. There were too many Mythic Academy players in the top lane. Set was very, very outnumbered. He could not survive.
They're just able to chain one kill into the next here, and Perklo has to be careful and not give over any further kills. But that ends up being 3 going over. The Rift Herald being traded back is nice. I see the first item starting to come through now as well for just about all of the members of Sand Ninjas. They're going to be able to start fighting back a little bit more effectively. A lot of good spikes here.
Oh dear, that is Perklo walking into his own jungle, which, as it turns out, was not his jungle anymore. So a little bit unlucky there, I suppose, as the blue buff will get taken.
Nothing
And a
like
Violet will
last.
get stolen. Go ahead.
Going to be a little bit difficult to walk into either jungle for Sand Ninjas right now, as opposed to being able to walk into any jungle that they
Okay, some chains connecting, but Jack is actually a level down on the Yone at this point. The stolen Vile Ultimate will get used, but the Yone will snap back to his body and will be fine for now. This is a man advantage for Mythic Academy in this fight. The Wang Bidang Ultimate from the Yone will go wide, not connect that one onto anybody. And Mythic Academy will just disengage. Teemo is back now. So a 5v5 in the bot side jungle, and they're not disengaging. They're re-engaging Tiger. An excellent Bard Ultimate onto 3. Yone snapping back potentially into his doom, but he will flash away, survive for now. Showstopper for Panda Lover. Decent Haymaker as well. A lot of damage. It's going to be Royalty extremely low, exhausted, but no, he's able to turn around. The front line is strong enough. They buy enough space for the Kaisa for her to survive. Jack wanting to go back in. Dav going to dash away with the Vault Breaker. So they killed the Teemo again, and the Yone this time as well. So a 2-for-0. Mythic Academy in the extended fight, emerging out on top.
Going to be able to take some advantage here. We'll see if Perklo can
wants
get
to die
anything
again.
back here. Yeah,
No,
I mean...
He's fine. He's fine. Oh, well, Roger is going very aggressively here. No, it's fine. I got baited again. Tell you.
This is just the Perklo gameplay. Just run at people and hope it works. It's definitely worked out some, but this game, it's worked out a lot less than it worked out last game. So I'm going to have to find a little bit more balance in the diet, perhaps. But yeah, we can see with the health bars that are remaining after the fights that they are pretty close. And that tells me that a lot of the difference is being made by the itemization, by the gold lead that is now up to 8,000 in favor of Mythic Academy. And I'm going to have to find more lopsided fights for there to be any chance of victory on the side of Sand Ninjas.
Well, they are able to secure the tier 1 in the mid lane, thanks to their collection of the second Rift Herald, so they actually do get some pretty good value out of that one. Dav is able to make that happen. But it's a little bit premature, perhaps, as we still have 4 to 5 seconds until the third dragon spawns. And if the side of Mythic Academy is able to lock this one down, it will be Infernal Soul Point for them, which would be absolutely massive. Perklo is running out of HP. He will flash away from the Glacial Prison. Decent reaction time there. But Teemo's going to have to go back to base now. He's not going to be able to put down any mushrooms. And they're not going to have any control over this bot side river when the objective spawns in.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a difficult one to contest. Looks like they are considering it, but Panda Lover's not in the area, so they might just start walking up towards the top side, try to sweep out some vision there around the Baron, make sure that they're going to be able to look. There's a lot of pings around it, so I think that those are red side pings. They're trying to walk that direction. Maybe if we can see a death brush set up here, it could end up well.
Careful, Roger. He just jumped in. He gets showstoppered into the enemy team as well. The Goon Squad is here, and Jax is going down. Roger, his whole team was on the dragon, and he went for the fight at exactly the wrong moment. Wang Badang going through the Bard portal. And straight into the grave. There he goes. The stun does come through, and rock and roll. Now the Ziggs rapidly running out of HP. The other B will also be exterminated. And Dabg, the last man standing. Oh, excuse me, Set is also alive. But Dabg, he's running. He's running. He's trying to get out of there. And the flash forwards Arcade. Oh, he's getting trapped under the turret. I think that is actually a trade back for the Vi, but she will still go down. So, and actually Bard doesn't go down either. He's able to flash away from the turret and live. So another huge fight win for Mythic Academy. I think that was a 4 for 1 or 4 for 0, depending on if you count Jax's initial death as part of that fight or not. And they are going to get the Baron here, Tiger, at 22.5 minutes. The scoreboard says 6 to 23. It feels like even more than that for Mythic, honestly. And they're just kind of running away with this one. Oh, they actually... No, they never took the dragon. But I don't think this is actually a realistic proposition for the side of the Sand Ninjas. Ziggs was all by himself off on the side there. He's just gonna get jumped on and killed off. And Dabg is not close enough to even go for a 50-50. It will be the Infernal Soul Point plus the Baron, which they do have for a good couple of minutes here. See what they're able to get done with it.
Yeah, they got it for another 2.5 minutes almost, so I think they should be able to start knocking down some of these towers. As much as the lead is favorable for Mythic Academy, they haven't taken that much in the way of towers, so there's going to be a lot more gold to take on this push. And if they can get the extra map control, particularly if they can break like an inhib, then they're going to be in just an absolutely crushing position. Even more so than they are already.
Yeah, the current position, I would say, is quite crushing, as one way that I could describe it. They're very, very far ahead. It is pretty much 12,000, you know, so this is actually a similar lead to what the Sand Ninjas held in game number 1. I think it took the Ninjas a little bit longer, though, to actually get to this point. I don't quite recall exactly when they were able to accrue that gold lead in the previous game, but this does feel certainly like a very nice bounce back from Mythic Academy, which they did need right after that first game, and they were able to fund, which I think is very nice to see. As Arkeen does get the Cosmic Binding onto the Yone into the wall there, as Roger Maniac is getting ganged up on again. They're trying to send the Goon Squad after the Jax once again. He's going to try and jump his way out of this one. He has the counter-strike again. Jax is going to dodge all auto-attacks for a short while. I don't remember the exact text. Sorry, guys, but it won't be enough. He will go down. But the rest of the team pushing very hard in top lane right now, trying to make the most out of this last couple of waves of Baron. They dive the Yone. He gets a decent fate sealed onto 2, but here comes Jack. He's flying in there over the top, able to... It's actually Kaisa with Killer Instinct that finishes off the Silas, or the Yone, excuse me, sorry. They do break the base as well, so tier 3 in the top lane gonna go down. Tier 3 in mid hanging by a thread. Obi-Wan gonna arctically assault his way away from this one. Davg does not have the ult available. Couldn't even go for it if he wanted to.
We're starting to learn the lesson here. Do not follow Bard through the portal. Not going to
Indeed.
end well. And
Yes.
trading 1-for-1, not such a bad result here. Able to save the inhib as well. So Sand Ninjas doing their best.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
they're picking up scraps right now, but they're able to get a little bit of a something
Oh.
there. We'll see if they can continue to get some more picks. If they can set something up around the dragon in particular, that would be advantageous. But they want to just stall this game out. They've got enough wave clear that they can deal with one wave of super minions. But if it gets any more out of hand, then they're probably just going to fall over like a house of cards.
Yeah, it does kind of seem that way. That might be the most likely series of events at this point. As the side of Mythic Academy really just seems like they're prioritizing maintaining control over the bottom portion of this map so they can lock down their Infernal Soul in about 90 seconds. Davg gonna get pushed out of his own jungle. Jack secures the big Krug. And for the side of Sand Ninjas, I think we can comfortably say that the game is no longer in their hands. There's really nothing that they can do proactively to try and take this game back. They just have to try and look to punish any mistakes that may happen, as Roger could get caught out here again. This may be one of those mistakes I was just talking about, as the Jax is going to get taken out. Roger's been caught in the side lane a number of times now, but his team is consistently getting work done on the other side of the map. So, still some value acquired by the top laner there. He's able to pull multiple members, and they do get the tier 2 and bottom lane in payment for their top laner's life.
It's a 5v4 if they can pull the trigger. Dave G has
Yes,
ultimate
indeed.
available.
Roger has teleport, though, and he's actually going to be alive 10 seconds before the dragon, so he can teleport into this fight and make it an honest 5v5 once again. The team just has to be patient and wait for him to respawn, which they are doing expertly. Kaisa making her way back towards the river as well. Perklo is...
Sweeper doesn't see
come on.
Perklo.
Come on, Zarkeen. Oh, come on, Zarkeen. Just a little bit farther north. Oh, he's gonna go for it. It is Davg into the back line. Panda over with the showstopper as well. On to the Sejuani. Gets some decent value there, but it's Jack and Royalty. They're diving in. They've already killed off the Ziggs. The Yone gonna follow as well. It's an absolute slaughter, Tiger. It was a massacre. It was an annihilation in the bot side river. Jack is just going to teleport straight into the base. He's ready to end the game.
And that fight was over from the moment the Tempered Fate landed onto the back line. There was no damage available in that fight for Sand Ninjas because Zarkini took them out right from the get-go. And with the teleport completing, with the bases being knocked down, we'll see if Perklo's got anything to say.
Just the lone Teemo gonna give over 300 more gold as the Nexus turrets fall and Mythic Academy bring us to game 3. I think. Are they
maybe not yet.
Oh, Tiger. Oh dear. Oh dear. All right. Well, it's gonna take them a little bit longer than maybe I. Sorry about that.
Well, good chase down, big shutdown going over to Wang. It would be a legendary comeback if this does not end up being the end of the game. But hey, I mean, 30 seconds on 3 different members, maybe starting up the Baron's not out of the question here.
They're thinking about it. Davg is punching it a couple of times. Sejuani's alive, though. Sejuani knows what's happening. She's in the area. Obi-Wan could absolutely go for a hero play. The Blast Cone will be denied as a Wang tries to get a little bit of chip damage down, but Yone is really taking more damage. Oh, the Glacial Prison will go wide. Obi-Wan thinking about trying to go in for the 50-50. He's not going to be in time, though. He's just a moment too late. And now the Sejuani heavily outnumbered. Looking to trade one back onto the Yone. Wang is just so not strong right now. The Prey Seeker comes out. It's going to be Royalty flying in there with the Killer Instinct, able to pick up a kill onto the enemy jungler. Still, I believe, 4 Baron buffs active for the Ninjas, which is pretty massive for them, but I don't think it's going to be enough, Tiger.
I think they're going to lose the 4v5 in their base.
I think it's a distinct possibility as Roger Maniac is going to jump forward. He's going to get a stun onto 3. The
Oh!
Hitmaker will actually obliterate him, but he bought a lot of space in the back line, and now Jack is ready. He is here. The cleanup crew has arrived. Burklow, the last Yordle standing, will not be standing for much longer, as Royalty will get cheesed in the last moments of this game, as Jack is able to finish things off for us just over 30 minutes, and Mythic Academy will bring us indeed to that game 3.
Well, it was a valiant base defense there from Sand Ninjas, but
Mhm.
Mythic Academy able to strike back hard after having a rough game 1. They were able to get some early advantages around the map, particularly in the mid lane. Jack Silas popped off in the early game, and the rest of the team just followed through for him. Zarkini's Bard was very clutch in a lot of the team fights as
We
well.
saw a
So
lot of
maybe
great
don't give
Bartles
the
for
Bard
sure.
one trick Bard.
Yeah, yeah, that seemed like it was a factor in this one. Absolutely. Interesting build as well, going with the very tanky Bard build. Lock it into Deadman's into Force of Nature. So very, very tanky on the Bard. 5-1 and 23. Quite the scoreline. That is a 28.0 KDA for Zarkine on the Bard. Pretty nutty, honestly. And Sejuani, also deathless this game. Obi-Wan, 3-0 and 19. Extraordinary performance from him as well. And that's not even mentioning Jack, who was really tearing things up on the Silas from very early on. I mean, I can recall a couple of solo kills for the Silas that really kind of felt like it solidified the lead for Mythic in this one.
Well, we can see that Mythic has a lot of fight left in him, and I think that both of these teams are in a good position going into Game 3. Maybe we go a little more standard than a Teemo support, but hey, most damage in the game for his team, so maybe that wasn't the problem. Maybe we go not 3 physical damage dealers topside, and that helps out a little bit. But whatever the case, I think that we can say that the draft from game number 2 was a little bit more harebrained than the draft from game number 1, and it didn't work out in the favor of Sand Ninjas, so maybe they'll have to make some adjustments there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said enough about the Teemo. But I am actually just recalling now, Tiger. I do believe that I forgot to ask you for your player of the game after game 1. So I would, if possible, I would like to, if you can
Rewinding the
recall,
tape.
yeah, if you can bring your mind back to that first game, give us a POG for that one, and then your closing thoughts on this one as well. Who do you think was really the standout performer for Mythic Academy in their comeback win?
All right. So going back to
Yeah,
game
yeah,
number
yeah.
1, I think that the Viego performance from Dave was pretty exceptional. We also
Mm,
saw a very good Camille from Panda Lover, but the Pog award has to go to Dave. And
I like it.
now
I like it.
coming back to the present game number 2, there's only one answer it could be. It has to be Jack. I mean, when you go 5-0 and 0 in lane, that is the catalyst for your team being giga ahead. And like the rest of the players also did really good and had a lot of good moments throughout the game. But those moments were made possible by Jack. So player of the game goes to Jack.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot, Tiger. And it is starting to seem like a bit of a pattern for me. It seems like Mythic Academy, they tend to live or die by their mid laner. It really comes down to it seems like if Jack has a good game in the mid lane, they're having a great game as Mythic Academy. You know, they're able to coordinate very well around him, and they're able to facilitate his carry potential to very smoothly move towards a win. But if he has a bad game, it seems like they do tend to struggle a little bit. So we'll see if Dav G is able to turn things around in game 3, if they're able to bounce back after a tough loss, maybe change some specific picks in the draft and fight back and try and get their first match win of the season, or will Mythic Academy, will Jack, after this incredible performance on the Silas, be able to continue that momentum and bring them their own first match win of season 14. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back with the exciting conclusion of tonight's matchup right after this short break. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining us for our third and final game of the evening. We will, for our last game, be swapping sides as the Ninjas, once given selection, have decided to take over Red Side. So, Red Side appears to be the premier side to play on, according to these two squads. We'll see what the Ninjas are able to get done with that side selection.
I'm in agreement. Red side is best side. Got to get that R5 counter pick, make the most of it. We saw it used pretty effectively in game number 2, picking up that Silas and totally smurfing on it. So, gonna be no more
True.
counter pick for Jack this time around. Or at least if there is counter pick, it's going to be after an R3 mid pick and then some bans to make sure that it's not quite so overbearing. But we will not be seeing Silas this game.
We will not, as he will be banned away by the Sand Ninjas. We do have, let's see, what does that mean that they have to drop? So they might leave the Zaya open now. Yeah, they will. They will leave all 80 carries available. The Ezreal, another pick that Royalty does like to look towards on occasion. Could it be a little bit of a better blind as well? This is something that the Ninjas have been banning out in both of the previous games tonight, but needing to add the Silas ban to the list. It will actually be the Sejuani on B1 for Mythic Academy. Obi-Wan had a great game on the Sejuani in game 2, so I don't mind this whatsoever. Seems like a good lock-in. High priority pick for sure. See what the Ninjas respond with.
I think that with the evolution of this series, we've seen that Royalty can kind of play whatever champion and be just about the same level of effectiveness. From ahead, gonna be pretty effective at snowballing the lead. From behind, gonna have some difficulty. I mean, the same difficulty that all marksman player have in coming back. But going to be some similar selections to last game, despite the fact that we have switched sides as the Vi is matching up in the jungle once again against the Sejuani.
And Ziggs for rock and roll. 3 games in a row. So that is. Oh no, wait. Actually, in game. No, yeah, it was rock and roll that played the Ziggs all 3 games, right? Yeah, it was. So this is something that clearly rock and roll was committed to coming into tonight. Dav G, the Viego was banned away, so we'll indeed look back towards the Vi. And there is the Ezreal that we were just discussing a little bit earlier. Will be going into the hands of Royalty this time around, and the pairing with the Bard. This is Zarkeen back on his own most played on the Bard, and that is an extremely strong duo lane as well. Very notorious, the Ezreal Bard.
But going to be a little bit difficult for them to gain any push against an Ashe lane. I think that Ezreal Bard, once again, just going to be a pretty safe lane. Has the
Woo!
potential to set up for some dives, as we saw before, but at the same time, if you end up being pushed under tower, then it's pretty difficult to dive against you as well because you can get that Zhonya's effect off. So we'll see if they want to put resources towards that bot lane or if they want to try to get Jack a lead once again on whatever pick ends up going into that mid lane role.
Yeah, I like the Ash pick for the Sand Ninjas, but I was just looking at the stats, Tiger, and I absolutely understand the Ezreal bans that were coming out earlier. So Royalty last season, 37 games, 76% win rate, which is pretty insane. And then already this season, only 10 games, which is not the highest sample size, but won 8 of them. 80% so far this season on the Ezreal. So, I mean, this is. I mean, we shouldn't put too much stock into statistics, as that is, something that can be a bit of a trap. But if just looking at the numbers, it seems like Royalty is right in his comfort zone with this lock-in.
Absolutely gonna have to watch out later on in the game to see if the poke is going to be pretty effective. I think that up against a Ziggs and an Ashe, it can be difficult to get into range to utilize it because you're going to have to subject yourself to getting slowed, potentially CC'd. But at the same time, if there's a lead for Mythic, especially if they can get a Baron, then the Ezreal rises in value a lot. So they want to be in a position where they are free to take pot shots at the enemy health bars And we're going to see if Sand Ninjas can prevent that with this Aatrox lock-in.
Yeah, it's the Aatrox on R4, so saving their counter pick for Wang in the mid lane, presumably, as it is the Olaf. So this is something that Roger Maniac did bring out in their last match in games 2 and 3, but those were sadly the games that they lost. So the Olaf hasn't been finding much success for Roger in the Style League just yet, but it is something that, again, he's pretty comfortable on. So Mythic, it's the deciding game, game 3. They're going straight for comfort. They're just locking in everybody's best champion, and they're going to see if they can make it happen. Olaf is a great pairing with the Sejuani, so that makes some sense. That can be a very strong synergy towards the top side 2v2. And then the Ari is the last pick for Jack in the mid lane. Maybe he just feels like it's a safe blind. Doesn't feel like he's going to be able to get countered that hard. Time to find out what Wang is going to go for. Last pick of the draft for the Ninjas.
Yeah, with the Olaf lock-in, I'm expecting. Well, I've said this in the first two matchups, and it didn't end up being so. But I'm expecting the top lane to be the priority lane for Mythic Academy. I mean, they've just got perfect setup for it. They've got Sejuani Olaf, so the gank setup is really good, and then they've got a perfect weak side bot lane in Ezreal Bard, and then they've got a mid laner who can push and roam in Ari. I mean, they're probably in the best spot post draft out of any of the games this series because of their ability to match up well in multiple lanes. But I think that they've got a similar game plan in mind to help them move towards the victory. And I think that it's going to be a little bit more of the same. Now, what I'm guessing is that it's Ashe support, actually, with the Ziggs being in the
Yeah.
AP carry position, but still a little bit unclear there. We'll see how that all shakes out.
I mean, it's been rock and roll piloting the Ziggs all night. So I think it would be very shocking to pivot away from that now, especially given they put such high priority on it in the draft. Once again, it really just seems like something that maybe they feel the most comfortable on, or maybe this is just the game plan that the team had come up with going into this specific matchup. Hard to really say for sure. But I certainly do expect these Ziggs to be the farming character in this bottom lane, and especially also considering the prevalence of Ashe support these days is just a very very common pick. So I think that all makes quite a bit of sense, and they do have pretty strong solo lanes again this game on the side of the Sand Ninjas. Aatrox and Syndra. Syndra, certainly not the lane bully that she used to be, once upon a time, but certainly not a slouch in the laning phase either. Should be able to scale up relatively quickly to be a threat in the mid game. And, against the Ari is certainly not a champion that's known for being very dominant in the early laning phase either. So both of these mages should be able to scale up relatively comfortably. And really, I think we just have to be keeping an eye on our junglers to see where they decide to path, because both Sejuani and Vi, of course, are very potent gankers. So I think they might decide some of these lanes if they decide to make their presence felt early on.
That definitely has dictated some of the early tempo of the game and how we've been seeing these teams play. Knowing that the rest of the team was in the area really helped Jack get that big lead in the middle of game number 2, and in game 1 we saw the counter jungling coming out, and Dave was able to use that to get a pretty big advantage on the top side of the map. So we'll see if the junglers are able to make a big difference once again in game number 3. Seen a lot of roaming from our supports as well, so that can make a difference too. And there's just a lot of things to watch out for, especially once level 6s come through all around. I think that this game is just going to explode and be back into another situation where we're just about constantly fighting.
Yeah, definitely could be the case. And while both of our games have had plenty of fights, Tiger, both of our previous games have also been extraordinarily one-sided. if one of our teams has been able to find a significant lead early on, and in both of our previous games, that team who found the early lead has been able to very successfully snowball that into a victory. So the early game has been deciding quite a bit for us so far tonight. Do you expect that to be the case once again? Do you think one of our teams is going to be able to find a big early lead with one of these compositions that they can snowball? Or do you think that maybe this third game we should expect to be a little bit more contested through towards the mid and later stages?
I imagine that it's going to be another snowball type situation, particularly
Mm.
based off of the team comps. I mean, when you got like Ziggs, Ash, Syndra, if you get ahead with those champions, then it's just very difficult to ever walk into. Aatrox also very strong from ahead, just in a solo lane type of situation. Uh, Good weak side champion actually, because Aatrox is very difficult to kill, has a lot of disengage options. On actually, all of his abilities are disengage. So if Aatrox gets ahead, he's pretty much unkillable. But on the other side, there's a lot of good chase down, like Ezreal, Ari, Sejuani, all good at running straight into enemy team. And if Zarkini can ever get bar ultimates like we saw in last game, those can be pretty oppressive. So I
Oh
like the
yeah.
snowball chances for both of these sides. I think that whoever gets ahead early is going to be in a good position. And it's just about 50-50 in my book. I think that the odds,
Mm.
maybe it's a cop out, but I think that the odds for this game are just about even.
I guess you saw my next question coming, did you, Tiger? But yeah, you're thinking it's pretty much even, huh? You're not willing to call this one. You don't wanna even give us a
You want,
51% chance for one of these
all right,
teams.
you want my 51% chance?
I
All
want the
right.
51%.
I'll give the 51% to Sand Ninjas because I'm a red side
Oh,
believer.
okay. Red side diff potentially coming through. The sides are wrong on the stream, guys. Mythic is back over to blue side. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I'm not going to bother trying to fix it right now. We are going to go into a break very, very shortly. We shall see if Jack is able to make it happen on the Arty. If he can find that early lead with the help of his Sejuani in the jungle, or maybe it will be the Ziggs and the Syndra and Dav G on the Vi, able to make it happen here in game three. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the exciting conclusion of tonight's matchup. We'll see you here real soon. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, welcome back to the Rift, our third and final game of the night. We have swapped sides for our last outing of the evening. We have Mythic Academy moving over to the blue side, Sand Ninjas electing to take red. My co-caster, of course, a firm red side believer. As a little bit of a slow there for Zarkeen, able to get a few early stacks on the support item. Very nice for the Bard.
Yeah, the
Oh
nice thing
dear,
with
looks like.
the
Go ahead.
Bard passive, you're able to proc it twice. So just by having one auto attack, that's plus 40 gold for Zarkini. So that's always a feels good moment when you're the Bard player. Saw Perklo get a little bit of action going as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Royalty does with the build here. It actually is teleport Ezreal, so matching the
Hmm.
teleport from Rock and Roll. Going to be a ghost for Roger in the top lane. Going to try to be able to run down Panda Lover, but both sides with double TPs. And we'll see if they're going to be able to use those to create some big plays.
Yeah. Conqueror as well for royalty on the Ezreal. Ooh, nice mystic shot there. Already showing the Ezreal mastery. Oh, lands another one. Oh man, he's off to a flying start down here, and it's a little bit interesting, right? Because the Ash is such a popular pick because it allows for you to have that potent early lane priority. But when you pair it alongside something like the Ziggs, the champions really kind of seem they want to do different things, right? Ziggs is just kind of trying to farm up until late game. You really can't do a whole lot in the early minutes. I mean, if you do get the push and you can put pressure on the turret, then that's great. I mean, Ziggs is going to be really happy about that. But in terms of the laning 2v2, not necessarily the most potent of combos.
Yeah, Zig's not an expert trader. Hasn't mastered finding the right stonks. Needs to
Hmm.
work on wheeling and dealing, but does do well with the push because you're able to get towards those turrets, and also can look to impact the mid lane as well. Once you get to level 6, if you can just walk up and chuck a bomb that direction, that's pretty helpful. But just maintaining the prio seems to be the main goal here, as Dave looking
Ooh, Pan
topside.
Lover. He's got his jungler here. The pullback comes through. Roger in some trouble. He flashes away from the vibe, but where's he going? He's popped the ghost. He's trying to run, but how far can he get? Oh, pretty far as it turns out. Both summoners expended, but Roger is able to make his way out of there, no problem.
Yeah, somehow able to get out, but another gank mid.
Oh, yeah, that Ari is in a whole lot of trouble, and now Olaf is as well. The knockup comes through, and there goes the Olaf. They pick up the kill in the mid lane as well. And it's the Sand Ninjas off to a flying start here in game 3.
Yeah, gonna be able to pick up kills in both the mid and top lanes. Perklo once again on the roam. This man does not stop on the roams all day, going back and forth and utilizing that ghost to be able to make a play. We thought
Oh,
Roger was
careful.
out, ends up going back in, gets killed off as well as
Yeah.
Obi-Wan. So that means that on the top side of the map, we got kills all around for the side of Sand Ninjas, and they're already in a good position, up about 1.5k.
For sure. Yeah, Roger had his own jungler in the area. Maybe he thought Dab G had gone back to farming, so he felt okay to walk back up. But was not the case. That's a nice double stun from Zarkeen. Gonna be Royalty able to follow up on that with a Mystic shot as well. Big Wave going to be crashing in for the side of Mythic Academy as Perklo is stepping forward into the minion wave and is just going to die. He's just going to die, Tiger. I don't know why he did that. I'm very confused.
Well, you can do that as long as you've invested that early kill that you got into extra damage, but extra ability haste doesn't make your damage numbers any higher, and there's not a second marksman in the lane, so unfortunately, Having that extra gold didn't translate into anything helpful, and Royalty is able to win the 1v1, even getting the flash out of Perklow. So we'll see if that ends up meaning that there's more room to gank around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He just kind of walked into a minion wave, and I mean, it doesn't really matter how much damage
Make
you
this
have at
great.
that point, um, because you're just gonna die to the minions. But either way, we'll see if Pergo can bounce back for that one. We are unfortunately having some connection issues for Roger again. It looks like the teams are going to be playing through it for now. But this is something we're going to be having to keep our eyes on, as Perklo is getting some auto attacks in, but he's actually a level down on the Bard right now, so not going to be able to put that much hurt on him. As Roger's going to get pulled back by the chains again! Oh, and Panda Lover has level 6, he's just going to run him down with the World Ender! It's top diff here in Game 3. Panda Lover is 2-0 on the Aatrox.
Taking one more advantage before the level 6 comes through for Roger. Obviously, that ult has a cooldown. Going to be a little tougher in the future,
Oh,
but a roam
Zarkeen is
coming out from
here.
Zarkeen.
Wang Badang gets the scatter onto the Bard, has the gameplay button as well. Bard extremely low, able to flash away, able to keep himself alive. Jack committing a little bit late there with the Spirit Rush. I have to wonder, maybe if they already used that a little bit earlier, they could have burst down the Syndra. Hard to say for sure. As Obi-Wan has making his way into the mid lane now as well, just to make sure that everybody is A-okay over here. Perklo and Wang Badang just going to push in the wave, and most likely going to go for a couple of resets.
Meanwhile, the invade coming out from Dave is going to yield at least a red buff, it seems, if not more, as with the deep control ward, there's a potential to go for a kill on Obi-Wan.
Yeah, health bar's not necessarily there, but very low for Mythic as well. And the scatter onto 2 means Wang is able to pick up that kill onto the enemy mid laner Syndra on the board.
And they still haven't gotten that red buff yet, but I think they'll be happier with the kill onto Jack. Going to be able to make sure that we are not getting a repeat of game number 2 as Jack falling behind in lane. Wang Badang going to have one of those kills and starting to stack up the splinters is just crested 40, which means that the second queue has arrived.
Yeah, nice and early, right around 8 minutes. Syndra very much on pace. Rocking Roll is going to try and satchel his way out of this one. We'll have to commit the flash as well, but Ziggs is going to survive that attempt on his life from Zarkeen, as Roger really has to play it out so carefully from here. I mean, the lag is unfortunate, but I mean, it doesn't even really matter at this point because you can't win the lane regardless when you're this far behind the Aatrox. As Perklo is moving a little bit far forward again. He's ignited. True Shot Barrage will pick him up. Royalty, the marksmanship there is good. And through the portal he goes for the double. Rocking Roll not going to be able to make his way out of that one as Jack, the Unleashed Power available, as Jack's going to flash away, and Vi is not level 6 yet, so cannot chase down the Ahri. Jack barely able to make his way out of that one. Roger Mania popping the Ghost, trying to run from this very, very scary Aatrox. Does he have an E over the wall? Does he? Panda? Roger, where are you going, Roger? Just go back to base! Just get out of there, man! Okay, he's fine. He's out. He's out.
Gonna be wasting a little extra time there, but yeah, he does get out, so all is well in the top lane for the moment. And I said that I thought that it wasn't that it was a pretty snowball game, but it looks unclear which side is ahead early on, as it's like one side's ahead on the top side of the map and the other side's ahead on the bottom side of the map. So this is the situation where it's not so clear how it's going to snowball, if it does end up snowballing.
Mid lane also quite far ahead for Sand Ninjas, though, as that charm will go wide. They do get the kill onto the jungler to start things off. Obi-Wan goes down to start this one. Jack going in with the Spirit Rush, but he didn't have a charm. He just went in without charm, and he got Syndra ulted and died. And now Roger's going to get scattered. Ziggs ult comes out just barely wide. Can't quite connect that one onto Wang Badang, who, by the way, just picked up a triple kill, and he has Ziggs on his team. So I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Ziggs wasn't aiming for Syndra there. That wouldn't make any sense.
No, that wouldn't have made sense, but it was still pretty funny And with that in mind, a couple more kills go in the direction of Sand Ninja's gonna try to get out
Oh,
here.
yeah. Oh, just one more stack, and he would have gotten stunned up there. Glacial Prison almost off cooldown as well, but the Vi will successfully complete the heist of the blue buff. Now, what will happen with the Rift Herald? This is still our first Herald waiting in the pit. Vi will go back to base. I think they had vision of that base as well. Sejuani not going to start at the objective just yet. Dragon number 2 is going to be spawning as well very soon, Tiger.
Vote now in the chat. What should happen to the Rift Herald? We'll let the teams know. We'll affect the game. That's definitely something we can do, right?
Oh, absolutely, yes. It's a well-known fact that casters control everything that happens in a game of League of Legends, as Roger Maniac is in a lot of trouble once again here. Will barely be able to make it out of that one. I think maybe if Panda Lever had popped the ultimate, he would have got the kill, but now he is getting surrounded. He's getting ganged up on. Sejuani and Bard are both here. Perklo also in the area. So much healing. Oh, some gore drinker gaming from the lover of pandas. Going in for a little bit more. Not going to take the Bard portal. We've already established that to be a bad idea, generally speaking. But Panda Lover easily able to turn around to 1v3. Picks himself up a kill 2, 0, and 3 now on the Aatrox. And he is going to be able to... Oh, it's just too easy. Oh, the Ragnarok is late for Roger. He cannot get out of there in time. And that is number 3 for the Darken in the top lane. Oh, a scatter. The unleashed power. It's the power it's unleashed. It's not enough. Already limping away from that one. Is able to survive. Wang Badang, though, gonna get some quality time with that tier 1 in mid. And it's all up to Royalty. It's all up to Royalty, Tiger. It's Ezreal or bust this game. He's their only hope.
It really is. Already up to 1.5 items Essence Reaver in the inventory. Doing pretty well so far, but will it be enough? Because right now, Panda Lover's top lane is free real estate.
The Bard ultimate is good, but the scatter is even better. Shan Crystal Arrow just coming out a second late there, not able to lock down the Bard. And it's just going to be a cancel in the back is really all that amounts to. It's going to be a start on the Rift Herald now for Dav G's Vi. Full control over the top side of the map as, yeah, Panda Lever, yep, that's, yeah, he's really far ahead, guys. He's really fed on the Aatrox. Vi, you should really move over there and kill Olaf. I know you're doing Rift Herald, but you really just take care of the Olaf, then finish the Rift Herald. Okay, yeah, he's gonna die eventually, I'm pretty sure, as, yeah, that's the other side of the map. All the resources for the side of the Sand Ninjas are committed towards the top lane, which means there's nobody around to defend rock and roll. Ziggs will get taken out. That's kill number 4 for Royalty, who is going to be really, really strong. The Ezreal is probably... Does he have the most gold in the game? He does not. No, Aatrox is actually the winner there. But Ezreal has almost double everyone else on his team as, yep. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, that's a Glacial Prison, though. As Obi-Wan's making his way to mid lane. Oh, this dive. Royalty, no. Oh, the shutdown. Oh, damn. He's going to flash in there. He's going to pick it up. And Wang, he looks like he's going to be able to win out here as well. He needs one more Q. Oh, the flash away. Yep, he's going to live. And it's going to be Perklo, actually, who moves over there to save the mid laner. Crash into the tier 2 in mid as well. Shelly did quite a bit of work, as did the rest of the Sand Ninjas. They have a 7,000 gold lead, Tiger, at 15 minutes. Less than 15 minutes. You were just saying, you know, out of the draft, that this was going to be a snowbally game, and by golly, Tiger, you were absolutely right.
Crewman, it has become clear which team is snowballing now. With Royalty getting shut down there, it's all Sand Ninjas. They have become the dominant force in this game. They're going to be looking to continue taking towers down. And they're going to be a very difficult force to resist. 2 charges off the Rift Herald. I was watching closely, even though there was a team fight going on. I was like, 57, 58, 59. Rift Herald hits before the plates go down. Woo! So that's just insult to injury. Going to be able to expand the gold lead even further. And looking to pick off Royalty again.
Oh, dear. Yeah, he had a turret. And it will, in fact, be enough, as Vi doesn't want to go in for that one. And we'll pretend we didn't see that one, Dav. You've been having a great game so far, so no
Punches a
worries
wall.
whatsoever. The wall deserved
Relatable.
it, okay? Yeah, it had it coming. As Panda Lover has done a little bit of a rotation down towards the bottom side, they've sent Rock and Roll up towards the top lane, where he's just going to go ahead and keep farming on the Ziggs, trying to get stronger. Oh, here comes the World Ender. There's nobody here helping Royalty. He's the strongest member, and there's nobody helping him. Zarkeen is here, but he's too late. It's too little, it's too late. Panda Lover is taking way too many tower shots here, but he's not going to die. He's not going to die, Tiger. It is the Bard who, in fact, will die. As Roger might get scattered. No, he's going to be able to walk it out. But that's pretty much all he's doing. He's just walking around. He's killing minions occasionally. It's really unfortunate for Mythic Ascension, or Academy, excuse me, in this one. Yeah, well, now he's dying. He was walking, now he's dying. That's going to be the first kill of the game for the Ziggs.
Roger's just getting abused, and now it's Obi-Wan's turn.
Yeah, Obi-Wan in his jungle, you know, again, mistaking it for his jungle, I guess I should say, but it is, in fact, not his jungle at this point in time. And that is going to be a rampage for Dav on the Vi, 4-0-4. Flashbacks of game number 1, where the Sand Ninjas dominated with Dav at the helm.
They're looking to do the same here in game number 3. Jack trying to interrupt it. Perklo,
well, he's super dead.
Reminiscing once again.
The Bard gets the shutdown, and now Ari is just going to get scattered into oblivion. And 5-19 on the scoreboard. It is Chemtech Soul Point happening right now. For the Sand Ninjas, they will be able to lock that one down. No problemo. And things go from bad to worse for Mythic. They are not having a great time of it here in this third game. It is quite miserable for them, in fact.
The nostalgia is overwhelming. We're just seeing Perklo inting and the rest of the team getting fed.
Yeah, that is what's happening. That's a vault breaker connecting onto the Sejuani. Gets pulled back by the chains, goes down. Once again, that is a good Bard stun, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough, Tiger. Jack has the ultimate. He has the Spirit Rush, but Panda Lover, when does the Gore Drinker come off cooldown? Maybe not so. Oh, the Conqueror healing. More than enough. Dav under the turret. Will sacrifice himself, but they get a couple more kills for his trouble. A 3-for-1 in the mid lane. Tier 2 going to go down as well. Yep, that's Zarkeen getting hit by a scatter. He's dead. He is dead, but the Syndra got executed by the turret, and Perko's not going to be able to finish this one off. So, Roger gets himself on the board. 1 for the Olaf. There you go.
A little bit of fun.
Just a bit.
I think that it's all right to have a little bit of fun when you're up about 10,000 gold. It's gonna be dropping a little bit off of those kills going over, but it's not too bad. Now Royalty has hit Navori quick blades, so keeping our eyes on the itemization of the Ezreal, trying to keep the team afloat. Let's see if Panda Lover can get out of this one.
Well, he is 2 levels up on the Olaf, but the flash over the wall to keep up the Ragnarok. Actually, really nicely played from Roger there, but Jack just got CC'd by something, I think.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Dylan took a big old zig to the face. The arrow from Perklo. Nailed that one from downtown. Sets up beautifully for the Ziggs. Zarkeen. Oh, the flash wave for Rock and Roll. The Bard ult's not good enough. Only gets locked down onto 1, but Sejuani comes flying in with the Glacial Prison. Lands that onto the Ashe. It's a 3v3 in the bot lane, but the gold advantage is squarely in favor of Sand Ninjas. But Dav G trying to flash away. Actually quite low. Roger burning down, though. Will the Olaf die? He will eventually, but the Ashe gets traded back, and that's a bit of a shutdown. Jack picking that one up onto the Ziggs. The flash forward under the turret. Oh, dear. It's Jack trying to... He saw he had the big play in his eyes. He saw it. He went for it, but it wasn't there. It was Dav shutting him down with a big old Hextech gauntlet straight to the face. And now Obi-Wan will be able to limp his way back towards the base. He gets pushed away from his own tier 2 in the bottom lane. And yes, the snowball will continue for the Sand Ninjas. It was a decent attempt in that fight. But yeah, that's just, I mean, that was their strongest member. He can't stand up to Syndra anymore. Wang didn't even use barrier. He was like, yeah, it's fine. I'm just gonna kill him. No biggie.
In fairness, Wang is pretty strong as well. 8-1-6 on the
Oh, he
Syndra.
absolutely is. Yeah. Yeah.
These teams have
Super strong.
dummied me into what I usually do is whenever there's a fight, I think about what is the relevant objective? What are these teams fighting over? I have stopped thinking that. I just see the teams fight,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
think to myself, "Oh, there they go again."
well, it just doesn't matter at this point, right? Like, any given fight should be Sand Ninja's favor. Like, it doesn't matter what they're fighting over. They don't have to fight over anything. If Mythic Academy leaves their base, they should die. That is the game state that we are looking at right now. And as a result, very logically, the Ninjas have started up the Baron Nashor. They've got it down to about 50% HP, and very understandably, yeah, he's dead. Oh, he's not dead. The Charm connects. The Glacial Prison, the flash in for Obi, lands the Arctic Assault as well. Wang, is the Blast Cone, can he hit though, is the question. Oh, he can't hit it. Hey, he gets hit by the Charm. He gets shut down. That's a maxed out shutdown for the Ahri, but it's a couple more kills going already back over the way of the Sand Ninjas. The gold lead is just too big. It's too massive. They got the Baron. They're going to get everything, Tiger. Zarkeen under the turret. Panda Lover taking it up. He's like, go for it, Perklo. No, Perklo's not going to go for it. Aatrox going to be able to go back to base. They get 2 for 1 in the fight. They get the Baron. They've got Chemtech Soul in about 20 seconds. They might not even need it. The push through the top lane could be the angle instead. Rock and roll. Gonna have the satchel charge. Just needs a little bit more damage on that tier 2, and he can blow it straight to high hell. But it's DavG actually uncontested on the mid tier 3, interestingly.
Honestly, not a bad result so far for Mythic Academy. They end up losing the Baron, which they were going to lose anyways, but they get a few towers on the top or the bot lane, and they were able to get a kill as well.
But Roger's not in a great place right now. He's going to try and use the Ghost. The Ragnarok comes out. Perklo is going to live, and Roger will not. Olaf goes down. 2-8. Very unfortunate performance for the Maniac. Misses Chemtech Soul. Sejuani's not here. It's free. Smite's good for DavG. Chemtech Soul secured. Baron's still on for about 90 seconds. And this one's only a matter of time, Tiger.
Yeah, we'll see if Jack gets punished for going outside of base here. Wang on the roam down.
Yeah, going back in with the Assault and Battery. DavG, yep, that's the first kill onto the Ahri. Bard will portal away. Another one picked up. Oh, that's an enchanted crystal arrow. Straight onto the enemy support. Perklo's had a couple of good ones this game. A couple of nice arrows from the Ashe.
Sniper Perklo showing up this game. And now they're raining down fire on the base.
Mid inhibitor goes down. Siege continues on to the next stretch. True Shot Barrage over the top. Good damage onto the Syndra. One more hit. Wang's going to go down. He's just going to go back to base, I think. Better safe than sorry on this one. You don't want to be giving over any more gold for free. As Obi-Wan going to go in. Going to land the Glacial Prison onto the Perklo, who will flash away and live. Enchanted Crystal Arrow just for fun.
Good snipe from Perklo. Not gonna mean anything, but Panda Lover continuing to take tower in the bottom lane. Has that Baron buff for another 20 seconds. Gonna try to use it to the fullest extent of its power. Gonna be able to get the bot tier 2. And more pressure on the map. It's not much more of a gold lead than we were seeing before. Just up to about 10,000 now.
It actually is less, as that is a flash that you could go for. Roger Maniac desperately trying to land an axe onto the Ashe, but he won't be able to. The Ragnarok actually expired there. And he's gonna get hit in the face by an arrow and die. Panda Lover in a 1v3 in the bot lane has the World Ender level 16 on the Aatrox. 1v4. Excuse me. See if he can outplay this one. Core Drinker healing decent, not a lot. And Royalty is still very strong on the Ezreal. So he's gonna shift forward. He's gonna pick up that kill. That's going to be a little bit more gold back over to the side of Mythic Academy. But, I mean, if we recall, actually, it was a 12,000 gold lead, I believe, for the Sand Ninjas at 15 minutes in this one. So it has shrunk a little bit, actually. Mythic, they're trying to fight back. They've gotten a few kills here and there. DabG has the Guardian Angel, so he can be pretty fearless here. He's going to go straight back in. He's going to flash over the wall. He's going to finish off the mid laner. Obi-Wan retreating. The tower cannot retreat. And now they're coming the Ezreal because he's dead. It was a flash Syndra ult. There's nothing he can do. He's just dead. And Roger, the same. Top inhibitor will fall. And the Sand Ninjas show
Gold
that maybe...
lead restored.
What was that,
I
Tiger?
got it back. I said gold lead restored.
Oh, yes, they made it back up to the 12,000 plus gold lead that they had earlier. And, yeah, not that it really matters. What really does matter, actually quite a bit, Tiger, is the fact that the Sand Ninjas, up until this point, had a miserable Season 14. They struggled so much, but they came in here tonight. They came here ready to play, and they took the dub in convincing fashion. Huge props to the Sand Ninjas. They played it out very, very well in the games that they won, and a much-deserved match win that they really, I'm sure, wanted very badly. So props to them. Made it happen.
Yeah, great job by the Sand Ninjas today. Also, Mythic Academy, they came out and they gave it a good effort. Royalty tried to put the team on the back there in game number 3, couldn't make it happen. Game number 2 looked really good from Royalty, from Jack, from the whole squad, but they weren't able to pick up the dub today. Sand Ninjas had to be the team coming out ahead, but good game from both sides. A very entertaining series, and I respect teams that can close out when they have a lead. So even though maybe a back and forth might be more entertaining, I like the clarity, and I appreciate the quality from teams that close out their games.
Yeah, this one, I mean, it was very convincing. I think it was under 30 minutes, right? This third game? Yeah, 26 and a half. Very, very clean from the side of the Sand Ninjas. They closed it out very nicely, which I agree, Tiger. You know, we don't always see here in the Style League. We don't always see those clean closeouts, but this certainly was one. So we do love to see that. We love when a team knows how to use their advantage to capitalize to the maximum potential, as that is a very valuable skill for teams to have. I'm gonna communicate with some of our other staff here, guys, to see if we can get a post match interview to happen. No promises on that one. This is something that is a little bit difficult to actually coordinate with the setup that we have here in the Style League. But give me a minute. I'll see what I can do. Do you have any? Who's your POG for this last game, Tiger? If we are able to interview somebody, who do you think it should be?
Well, I think that it's hard to name one person. They kind of ran over the entire top side of the map. Uh, I guess let's see. Who do I think? I guess that I'll give it to Wang. I think that the Syndra play was pretty good. A stark contrast from what we saw in game number 2. But Panda
Mm-hmm.
Lover was fantastic as well. Had some pretty good outplays in some odd numbered situations. But all around, it's hard once again to come up with a comparison between the different players because they were all doing different things.
They absolutely were. And it was a great performance across the board from the Ninjas here in this last game, right? Even Rocking Roll, he did his job on the Ziggs, right? His job was pretty simple. There wasn't a lot to it, but he did it
Chuck
very well.
bombs.
He threw bombs. He threw them real good. He used them to kill the minions, and they did that very consistently, and that was great. And Perkolo with some very nice redemption for themselves in this third game as well. I'm still a little bit baffled why the Teemo pick was considered to be a good idea, but the Ashe worked wonderfully here in this game. Did very, very well on that pick. Landed
Maybe
plenty of arrows.
maybe someday the Teemo support will come into the meta. I'm sure that there was a
I
time
hope
in the
that day never
past
comes.
where we saw the Ashe support and thought, "Oh, it's troll." Obviously, we're not in that
Sure.
time period anymore. And maybe it was troll in the past. Not to say that Ash support was necessarily good in times where people didn't think it was good, but there's always some room for some transitions in the meta. You never know. It could be Teemo support meta coming up on the horizon sooner than we think.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Unfortunately, guys, I don't know if we're going to be able to make the interview happen. I'm sorry about that. I wish we could interview somebody. Would be really fun, but I'm just not sure. I don't think that the people that need to be interviewed have access to the appropriate voice channels. So I just don't know how you would be able to make that happen. But certainly, well deserved win to the Sand Ninjas. Congratulations, guys! If you're listening, it's the. Can you join the auto? Well, the problem is, let's see. If we join a different voice channel, do we still are we still able to broadcast that to the stream?
We can't bring the bot with us to the other channel. There's an
Right,
auto
that is the
host bot.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah, so the auto host bot goes to the auto host location voice chat. That's how that works. And since we don't have like a formal producer that stands in, and that's where the broadcast comes from, a little peek behind the scenes here, behind the
right.
curtain. Uh and so we go to this voice channel location where there is the host bot, and that's how we get it done. But we can't bring any of the players into here because neither I nor
Yeah,
crewmen are like admin in the server,
we just don't have the
and
power.
we also cannot move the bot because it's not programmed to move to any of the other voice channels. So that's why it's difficult to set up an interview.
Thank you for that very accurate and succinct explanation, Tiger. Very well said. That is indeed the issue that we have. But
You can interview
congratulations.
me. Do you want to interview me?
Isn't that kind of what we've been doing the whole time? I've been asking you
Oh yeah,
questions, please.
I guess so.
Yeah. But anyways, do you have any closing thoughts on tonight's series, Tiger? I mean, all of the games did end up being extremely one-sided, but absolutely a massive win for the Sand Ninjas, much needed for them. I'm sure they're feeling great after that one. What are your overall thoughts?
Both of these teams look better than OFER teams, so they
Yeah,
I expect more wins on the horizon for both of these teams. Like, you have a rough go of it at the start of the season, it happens. That's life. But if they can keep on going with the season, if they can keep their spirits high, I expect both of these teams to be able to get a few more wins on the board before we get to playoffs.
absolutely. You know, it's the Sand Ninjas. I believe their first season here in the Style League, so their first win in Style, absolutely massive for them. And Mythic Academy, you know, a very storied organization, and I'm sure they'll be able to bounce back in due time. There's no doubt in my mind. But that's gonna do it from us tonight. So for myself, from Tiger, from the entire production team over here at Style Esports. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Have a great night.